now? Yeah.
Okay, Raymond. So Raymond, before we start the training, Bu Vita would like to open the training first. So without further ado, please Bu Vita, please open this training, Bu Vita.
Oke, ya. Terima kasih Pak Irwan. Thank you, Raymond.
Ya.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat
Waalaikumsalam
pagi.
warahmatullahi.
Salam sejahtera buat kita semua. Terima kasih buat teman-teman, rekan-rekan, mahasiswa, dan dosen yang sudah bergabung di kegiatan kita pada pagi hari ini, sosialisasi dan pelatihan online database Embase 2022, yang memang database ini ada database baru yang dilanggan oleh UI, dan kami memang memiliki program setiap ada oleh database yang baru kita perpanjang atau kita langgan, Perpustakaan UI akan melakukan sosialisasi dan pelatihan. Fungsinya adalah untuk meningkatkan penggunaan pastinya, dan juga untuk memberikan skill atau pemahaman dan juga pengenalan gitu ya, bagaimana online database tersebut digunakan dan dimanfaatkan. Pada hari ini setelah hadir Mr. Raymond dari Elsevier di Singapura untuk memberikan paparannya, dan kita ada waktu sampai jam 12 nanti. Kegiatan ini dilakukan oleh Perpustakaan UI hampir di setiap tahun dan akan terus berulang setiap tahunnya. Dan kami berharap pastinya para mahasiswa dan dosen bisa bergabung dan berpartisipasi untuk meningkatkan pemanfaatan. Selain itu juga, karena kami juga terbuka linknya di media sosial, mungkin ada beberapa non-UI yang ikut hadir untuk ikut menyimak dan mungkin juga untuk ingin tahu seperti apa online database Embase ini, Pak Irwan, sehingga mungkin nantinya akan ada gitu ya, mungkin pertanyaan atau apa dari non-UI. Selain itu juga kegiatan ini merupakan kegiatan yang wajib gitu ya dilakukan oleh Pak penyedia. Karena ini merupakan salah satu syarat gitu ya dari pengadaan online database di UI. Mungkin itu saja yang bisa saya sampaikan, dan silahkan untuk memanfaatkan online database ini tentunya bagi mahasiswa UI dan dosen. Bagi yang non-UI mungkin hanya bergabung dulu ya, suatu saat mungkin kalau memang tertarik bisa meminta bantuan pada kampusnya atau pustakawannya gitu ya, untuk bisa akses juga gitu, untuk pelanggan juga mungkin. Mungkin itu saja Pak Irwan dari saya. Semoga kegiatan ini bermanfaat dan bisa memberikan pemahaman baru, dan juga tentunya bermanfaat bagi pengembangan pembelajaran dan perkuliahan serta penelitian di kampus UI. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih Bu Vita untuk opening speech-nya pagi hari ini. Semoga training kita hari ini bisa bermanfaat baik untuk para dosen, mahasiswa, dan semua sivitas akademi di Universitas Indonesia. Sebelum mulai presentasi, saya perkenalkan diri juga dulu. Nama saya Irwan Gafar. Saya Senior Account Manager Elsevier untuk Indonesia. Hari ini, seperti yang Bu Vita sampaikan tadi, rekan saya Pak Raymond dari Singapura akan deliver materi trainingnya. Training hari ini akan kita lebih banyak ke step by step how to use Embase-nya. Jadi Bapak Ibu, anytime Bapak Ibu, jadi kita seinteraktif mungkin training ini. Jadi kalau feel free di tengah trainingnya nanti, di tengah penjelasannya Raymond nanti, Bapak Ibu bisa kalau mau ada pertanyaan, mau open mic aja, bisa di unmute aja, silakan tadi tanya langsung. Kalau ada yang pertanyaan yang langsung mau ditanyakan sebelum sesi bertanya, mungkin misalnya kita open saja, karena kita memang buat seinteraktif mungkin sesi ini. Dan nantinya kalau toh bisa nunggu sampai akhir sesi boleh juga, terserah yang nyamannya Bapak Ibu semua aja nantinya. Kemudian di akhir sesi nanti kita ada 3 kuis yang bakal diberikan oleh Raymond. Nanti ada giveaway juga ya Bu Vita ya, untuk pemenang yang bisa menjawab pertanyaan dengan cepat dan benar dari pertanyaan dari Raymond itu nantinya. Oke, tanpa ini karena waktu kita juga cukup singkat. Okay, Raymond, without further ado, I pass to you to start the training, Raymond.
Thanks, Erwan. Hi, everybody. My name is Raymond. I'm based in Singapore. Erwan, there's a message in the chat box in Bahasa Indonesia. I don't understand what does it say. Can you read it?
Apakah the link presensi? Bu Vita ada presensi,
Tidak ada.
maksudnya absen Bu ya? Nggak ada Bu
Ya,
ya?
tidak ada absen.
Nggak ada absen ya? Ya, just absence, Raymond, no need to have the absence.
Okay, sure.
Yep.
Right, thanks. So once again, my name is Raymond Teng. I'm from Elsevier. I'm based in Singapore, and today I'll be here to host, to provide training for Embase. I'll share the screen to a short slide deck. Right, let me see. You can see the slide deck. All right, so to the Embase training, firstly, I'll go through the agenda. So agenda for the day is I'll briefly explain what is Embase, then I'll compare with Scopus and Medline. Then in the training, I'll show you how to search in Embase, how to export, how to save your searches, how to set up email alerts, and then I'll go through the other functions of Embase like the Pico Search page, the PV wizard, the medical device page, and how to access the help page in Embase. And lastly, like what Erwan has said, we have a quiz. There'll be 3 questions. All right, so this is the agenda of the day. All right, so let me just stop share, and then now let's go for what is Embase. Let me just share my screen. Right. So this is the landing page of Embase. Can everyone see that?
Yes.
All right, thanks. Right, so what is Embase? Embase is considered the most comprehensive biomedical database on the market. It is always used for systematic reviews or evidence-based medicine. As long as the topic you're searching for is biomedical, that means it can be a drug, can be a health-related matter, can be a disease or biomedical term, you'll always get a more comprehensive search in Embase compared to any other database. So now I will show you a live search, right? Let's go to Scopus first, right? So we can see the Scopus screen now. If you're typing a drug search, Acoxia, for example, right? And I do a search. You can see that this is a live search. You can get only 311 documents. Why? Because a lot of other database is just a keyword search. When you search for Acoxia, it searches for it. It doesn't search for any of the synonyms or any other trade names or related names. And let's do the same in Pubmed. So I do the same search. I'm getting about 840 results, right? So this is slightly more than Scopus because it searches for some synonyms. Because if you go to advanced and go to details, you notice that when I search for Acoxia, they search for the mesh term, which is a synonym, and toricosip, which is an alternative name for Acoxia. Hence, you're getting more results, but Scopus don't do that. Let's go to Embase and have a look. If I do the same search, when I search for Acoxia straight away, Embase will be prompting me to use the preferred entry term, but to be fair, I'm using the word Acoxia, and this is a broad search by default. A broad search means you explode the search. So when I search, I'm getting about 3,290 hits, which is a lot more than what you get in Scopus or Pubmed. Hence, this is why Embase is a lot more comprehensive and why Embase is recommended for systematic reviews or evidence-based medicine. Because for those, you need to be as comprehensive as possible so that your systematic review or your evidence-based study is not biased and is not lacking in any information. All right. I shall close off the Pubmed and Scopus now, and let's go back to search. All right. Now, I hope you have a better understanding of Embase and its capability, and let's start the training session. So by default, this is the landing page of Embase, and the access of Embase is provided by IP access, IP authentication. So as long as you are in UI IP range, you'll be able to access Embase. However, I do highly recommend that you register and log in to Embase to enable you to save your searches or set email alerts. Right. For those that have an existing Elsevier user ID, be in Clinical Key, Science Direct, Scopus, or any other Elsevier product, you do not need to register for a new user ID. You can use your existing user ID to log into Embase. If not, then you can click on sign in and then sign to register for your new user ID. And please use your UI email address. All right. So when you start searching, this is a search box. By default, it's a broad search. So what is a broad search? A broad search means you expand your search or explode your search and search for all synonyms and all subheadings, and also the keyword that you type in as a free text, right? And of course, there's the option of clicking on the add field to search for anything. So you're interested in searching for title abstract, M3 term exploded, author name, etc. Anything under the sun, you can do that. So let's say I click on title, right? And I can type in the same thing. Now, if I do a search, you notice now the command is not like the same as previous. Previously, when I do a search under broad search, you automatically do a /exp, which means it explodes the term. That means it search for all the synonyms, trade names, etc., and all the subheadings, and you search for it as a free text as well. But now when you search for a title, you only search for it under title, and you can see there's only 12 hit results. And you see the results now, you can see now in the results, the keyword that you type for is all in the title. You see that? Whereas if I go to the previous result set, let's click on this. See, the keyword you search is not in the title. It may be in the abstract, it's not there, but it's in the index term, you see. It's in the index term, it's highlighted. So whatever you search will be highlighted there. All right. So this, let's go back to the quick search. So this is how you search in a quick search for Embase. By default, it's broad search, but of course, you can add things like title, abstract, or whatever, right? But by default, it's also broad search. So even, let's say, type in COVID, for example. COVID, I use coronavirus, right? And click show. So by default, you do coronavirus, explode, or coronavirus disease as a free text. You see, this is what broad search does. And when you do a /exp, what does this do? I'll show you that. It has to do with the M3, which is a taxonomy or the dictionary for Embase. How to access this M3? If you see my mouse, you can see the M3 on top, right? If I click on M3, it brings me into M3, right? So for the first example, like acoxia, when I type, right, it asks us to use this, never mind. So this expands and allow you to see the M3 taxonomy tree. So under M3, you can see this drug is categorized under chemicals and drugs, right? So under this, these are all the subheadings, there's a COX-2 inhibitor, or is also categorized under a non-steroid inflammatory agent, or is also classified under anti-rheumatic agent. So this is what I call the M3 taxonomy tree. You can move up or down the taxonomy tree. Let's say you're not that interested in this drug, you're more interested in non-steroid anti-inflammatory agent. You can click on this and move up a concept to search for a broader term. All right. And then these are the synonyms that is being searched when you explode it, right? See, we can search for the chemical names, other names, or trade names, etc. And then we also provide a definition from Dolan's medical dictionary to tell you what is this. Right. So let's do an example. For example, I search for the word tumor. Right. You notice that tumor, there's TUMOR and TUMOUR, both the British and American spelling. But it doesn't matter. You see, no matter what I do, in M3 is telling you to map it to the preferred empirical neoplasm. So have a look at neoplasm, right? So this is a taxonomy tree, right? And you can see under synonyms, you can see TUMOR, TUMOR. So both the British and American spelling is covered, the other names are covered, right? And then the definition is provided. So when you search for tumor and you as a broad search or you explode it, right? All these synonyms will be covered and all these subheadings will be covered as well. So for example, if you don't think you're interested in all these subheadings, you're only interested in metastasis, you can click on one of the subheadings and now it expands for this. And then under a search for metastasis, if you explode it, all these subheadings will be covered as well. So you can continue narrowing down your search. Let's say you're interested in endocrine system metastasis, you can click on this, and then now you have a more narrow search. And once you're happy with it, you can click add to query builder and it goes there. And you can continue using this and type in for another word and keep adding another word there as well. If not, you can just click on search. So now it does it as an explosive search. You see the difference now? This is an explosive search. This is not a broad search. Because a broad search will explode it and search for it as a free text. But as an explosive search, it just explode it, but it doesn't search for it as a free text. You see the difference now? All right. So let me just remove all this and use Acoxia as an example. So this may make it clearer. So initially, I used a broad search for Acoxia in under the default quick start page, right? So if now I just use Acoxia/exp, I search. You notice now it's just exploded, doesn't have the free text, and you see there's a difference in the search. So one is 3285, one is 3290. Why? That means there are 5 articles that you can find Acoxia, which is not under the synonyms, but as a free text. What do you mean as free text? That means it's not under the index terms. It's a free text. That means it can be anywhere in the text. It can be anywhere in the title, abstract, or anywhere under the document history, right? And the same thing if I remove the explode, right? I just search for it as a free text. You see, I'm getting about 314 hits only because now I'm searching for it as a free text as Acoxia. That means I'm not searching for any of the synonyms. I'm not exploding it. So now you can see a broad search versus exploded search by just a keyword itself, right? So this is the difference, and just be noteful that if you type in your search under the results page, right, there is no mapping. If you want this to be a broad search, you need to go to mapping, click on search as broadly as possible, right? Then when you search, then you do a broad search for you, which is the explode and free text. All right. Other than that, before I continue, is there any questions?
Pak Ibu, ada pertanyaan sampai di sini? Kalau ada pertanyaan bisa open mic atau type, diketik di chat box, boleh Bu ya, Bapak Ibu. Kalau tidak ada, so far kita lanjutkan saja. Please go on, Raymond. There's no question yet.
Okay, the next thing I'll show you is the filters, right? So once you search on something, you notice the filters at the side. You click on sources, you tell you how much is in Embase and how much is in Medline. So if you want only Embase unique content, you can click on this and click on apply. And then now you get only Embase unique content. That means because a search in embase.com from Elsevier, you're searching both Embase and Medline at the same time, right? And the content in Embase is updated daily. So it is up to date, don't worry. It's updated daily, so it's always up to date. Yeah. And the next thing you can see there's other filters. So you can filter by age, for example, you can filter by gender, you can filter by study types. Let's say I'm interested in human and control study, you can click apply. So now it helps you narrow down your original search of 3,200 to 3,000, right? Of course, it really depends on what you're interested in. You can sort by publication type. I'm interested in article, or maybe you're interested in review, or maybe you're interested in a conference abstract. So it really depends on what you want. You can filter by journal titles, publication years, authors, conference abstract. And then the interesting bit about Embase is that we do index the drug trade names. We also index the drug manufacturers. And for medical device, we index the medical device trade names and medical device manufacturers. So all these will be captured in the results of these 3,290 results, whatever you find there. But what is unique is the triple link filter is a drugs, disease, and device, right? So under here, if I click on drugs, you list all the drugs as listed in this 3,290 result sets. So you can scroll up and down this list, and let's say, for example, this is a drug you're interested in. When you click on details, right, you pop up adverse drug reaction, drug combination, drug comparison, drug interaction, drug therapy, or special situation for pharmacovigilance or unexpected outcome of drug treatment. So depending on interest, let's say I'm interested in adverse drug reaction, I click on it. Notice that there's another pop-up. So there's 1, 2, 3. So we call this triple link filter. That's triple link, right? So from here, straight away, you can see the adverse drug reaction. There's 73 articles reporting hypertension for this drug. There's 67 articles reporting on gastrointestinal symptom for this drug. There's 63 articles reporting on cardiovascular disease and 44 articles reporting on heart infection. So at one glance, if you search for this drug, you know that the adverse event of this drug is hypertension and heart cardio related. So it's cardiovascular disease and heart infection. So that if you have a patient that is that you want to prescribe this drug to, you know that if the patient has any hypertension or any gastrointestinal symptoms, or they have heart problems, then you know that this drug may not be suitable for the patient. And if you scroll down, you can export this list. If you click export, it exports as a CSV. When you download, it exports as a CSV. You can open with Excel. So open for Excel, then you can go through the list of adverse events yourself. All right, it's pretty simple. I'm not going to save it. Let's go back to Embase now. All right. So before I continue, is there any questions on this triple link filter?
Ada pertanyaan Bapak Ibu sampai di sini? Okay, no question,
Right.
Raymond. Yep.
The triple link filters only work for drugs, disease, and device. So we can do the same for disease. We click on disease, it lists all the disease under here. So here, for example, on one glass, you know, we search for this drug and these are all the disease lists. Straight away, I know that this drug is a sort of a painkiller. You see, put pain, you know, they put rheumatoid arthritis, you know, all these are painful disease. So I know that the drug I search for Acoxia is a painkiller. So for example, I'm interested in rheumatoid arthritis. I click the details. Now I have drug therapy and tell you what are all the drugs that's used to treat this, right, according to the results set, right? So this is a reverse, and you can do the same for device as well. Of course, this is a drug search. So in terms of medical device, options, there's not a lot. But if I do a medical device search, for example, if I do a CP, AP device, right, search as broadly. Now, under this, you see that there's not a lot of drugs, but under device, there's a lot, because now I search for a medical device. So you see there's a lot of medical device, and then also when you go to device trade names or device manufacturers, you get a lot more. You see ResMed, Philips, you know, Fisher and Paykel, etc. So you can see the filters is very interactive. You sort of change according to your result sets as well. Right. So this is how you use the filters on the left-hand panel. Any questions before I move on to the filters at the top? There's some Indonesian bahasa in the chat box. I don't understand what it reads.
Okay.
Is that a question?
Oh, no. This is from Bu Vita. Actually, it mentioned that anyone can ask in Bahasa also.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Ross,
Yeah.
thanks. Ross, I don't understand, so I thought it was a question. All right.
Yes.
So other than that, you can use the top box like fields. For example, if you type in something, right, you want it to be under index term, just click OK. For example, now I'm using the same as an example. Let's say I want it in abstract, I click AB. I want it in title, I click CI. I want it in index term, I click DE, right? Then I just click on search. So now you search for it in abstract, title, and as index term. All right. Or the next thing is, for example, I'm interested in Indonesia. I'm interested in Indonesia journal. I can go to fields. I go to country of author or country of journal. In this case, let's look for country of journal, right? Then I click on search. So straight away, I find 4,339 articles that is from Indonesia journal. So you can see this is Medical Journal of Indonesia, Medical Journal Indonesia. Then when you open up any of them, you have a better look at the results, right? So you can see country of source Indonesia, country of author Indonesia as well. But in this case, because I'm searching for country of source, which is Indonesia. Of course, being said that, let's go back. If you're interested in finding the Indonesia author, right, you can go to fields instead of country, instead of CY, you go to fields. Then now you choose country of author if you're interested in that. And the next thing is also you can change it for language or article. If you're looking for Indonesian article language, you click language article and search. Yeah, sorry. Indonesian. Because if I search for Indonesia as language, it will get 0 because Indonesia is not a language. Indonesian is a language. So now I search for it. I get 29292. Right. So I click on the results. If you go inside, you see language of article, Indonesian. Yeah. So sometimes when you search and don't get something, don't get any results, just pause and think again. Is what you think about what have you searched? Is what you search, does it make sense? Because remember, just now I'm searching for Indonesia, which is a country as a language, so it doesn't make sense because the language is Indonesian, right? So let's go back to results. Okay. So now I've covered all the filters inside Embase, right? Let me just delete some first to make it shorter, right? So is there any question before I continue?
Ada pertanyaan Bapak Ibu sampai di sini? Kalau boleh dalam bahasa juga bertanya, boleh Bapak Ibu ya. Nanti saya coba translatekan ke Raymond. Raymond, just one question from me. Let's say when we set the filter already, can we save the filter for the future searching?
You cannot save that particular filter, but you can search. I can save the filter with your search. For example, if you have a filter like this, like I add control study on human limits, right?
Yep.
So you have to click on it, and this is the next part of the training. How to save your searches? You can click on save, but again, if you do not log in, you cannot save. So you click on save. You go to your save folder. Okay, you can see I have a lot of save folder because I've done a lot of training and a lot of demo. So under save folder, you can save it directly, or I can open a new folder, right? Create, and then save it under whatever name you want and save it. So you save your whatever filters with your save searches together. All right. So how does this work? So imagine you go back to results. Let's say you log out of Embase and then you come into Embase the next day. So there should be nothing here, right? So when you come back, there's nothing here. So how to access your saved results? You go to My Tools, look at My Tools, right? So you click on it. So under My Tools, then you go to your Save Searches. You click on it. Again, you see your folder and search for the folder that you have saved it in. So I save under UI Demo 1, right? And this is what you have. So you select them and click on Rerun. And then you rerun your save searches and whatever filters you added. So you don't have to add in the filter all over again. All right. So this is how you save and recall your save searches in Embase. Other than that, you can also, because this is what people use for systematic review. So for example, people can add in, right? So you can add in as many search field as you want and combine. So I can combine Acoxia and adverse event. You can combine them using the bootlen and or. If you combine with and, it narrows down your search. You combine with or, it expands your search. All right. So I'm using and. So now I must search for Acoxia and adverse event. So you get a smaller search set, right? So if I do the same Acoxia and adverse event and I combine them using or, right? What happens? You expand your search. You become more million now, because can be this or that, right? This or that. But now it's this and that, then you get a smaller set, because yes, the criteria is more. For example, if I ask you, you want to buy a car, you say, yeah, then what car you want? You say, I either want a white or blue. Then you know there's so many white car, so many blue cars, so you get a lot more. But when you say and or what car you want to buy, I must buy a Toyota and blue. See, now you must only be Toyota and blue, then the number of cars that you want has narrowed, right? So and or all, understand that it's quite simple, right? So again, let's say this is a search strategy. You can combine like Acoxia, adverse events. Of course, then you can put in other search. And let's say this is a search strategy. You can select all and save them, and also can click on print view, right? Then it pops up this table and you can print it out as a hard copy, right? Let me show you again. So select everything, click on print view, and then you pop this up, right? Alternatively, you can export it as a HTML, text, or CSV, and then save it as a soft copy on your desktop. Why is this necessary? Because for someone doing a systematic review or evidence-based study, most of the time people are asked to check your search strategy, or even when you submit your your article to a journal for publication, sometimes the editor must ask you, this is interesting, can I have a look at your search strategy? So this is where you save your search strategy and show it to the editor or your supervisor or your colleagues to share and check whether your search strategy is correct for the particular topic. All right. And of course, you can click on email. You can email this to someone else as well. All right. So this, the top part, the save email print, is for your search strings or search strategy, right? The bottom part, you can see view export, right? So please do not click on this export and try to export that. That doesn't work. This list is for the results at the bottom, right? So the next thing that I'll show you before that, I still the last bit on the top part is how to set email alerts. How to set email alerts. Let's say this is your final search, right? You can see it's highlighted in orange, right? If my mouse, you can see it's, when my mouse hover over it, you can see it, but you can see it's orange now, right? So if I click on Acoxia, you see now Acoxia is search number 1. I click on search number 1. Now search number 1 will be highlighted in orange. So whatever search string that you're looking at, it will always be in orange. But sometimes people are clicking up and down, they forget. Then they click set email alert. Maybe you want to set email alert for number 5, but you set email alert, but now you'll be setting an email alert for number 1 because notice number 1 is highlighted in orange. So for me, I'll suggest that if you set email alert for number 5, you hover over number 5, right? Then you move on the ad, you see this email alert here. You click this one, then definitely you'll be setting an email alert for number 5. Let's say you set for it, you click email alert, type in again. Then make sure your email address is correct, because this email address is provided by yourself when you register. Then you can select the format, the frequency, and by default, when you do systematic review, we're supposed to review your search once every week. So you can set on Tuesday to review your search or on Wednesday to review your search. Once you're done, you just click on set email alert. Then it'll be done. All right. So once you're done, right, again, how do you access your email alerts? How do you edit it? You go to My Tools, under Email Alerts, then this is all your email alerts, right? So for example, you want to change something, you hover over it, you click Edit. So now you can change it from every Wednesday to maybe every Tuesday, or you want to change it to every 2 weeks. It's up to you. So once you're done, then you save it. Yeah. So this will send you alert every time. And once your study is finished, right, it's completed, you may want to delete the alert. Otherwise, it's very annoying to keep getting an alert email every week. So you can select it and click on delete, and this deletes your email alert. All right. So any questions on how to save your search string and how to set email alerts before I move on to show you how to export your results?
Raymond, there is one question from Pak Eka Hartomi. The question is, can we use Embase to find research article that connected to the environment factor that, for instance, that can find they can compare, such as the temperature, pressure with COVID, something like that. Can we use Embase for that kind of things?
What do you say? Coffee?
COVID-19 connected
COVID-19
with, yeah.
With environmental.
Yeah, environmental.
Okay. Like this is biomedical data. So if you search for COVID, right, you're going to get a lot of information. But in terms of environmental, I'm not sure how much environmental information you have, because this is more of a biomedical health related search, medical or health related. Right. So once you get COVID, let's say you're interested in environment, let's put environment, right? Again, I'll just search as broadly. Wait, I see another question in the chat box, but let me finish this. Let me just refresh my Embase page. It's not loading. Okay, so I can combine coronavirus and environment using the N.
Yeah.
So we're getting about 78,000 hits. So I'm not sure, like, what does this? Okay, what's the word? Oh, under broccoli is there? I'm not sure why. Why is there? What's under environment? I think this is under the subheadings. That's why it's being searched. Yeah, or sense of Korean young people, the challenge in COVID. Yeah, so you can find that as well. So really it depends on the keyword, because COVID is still a biomedical term. So you can search for other related terms to COVID. Yeah, you just do what I do and then you combine them. All right.
Yeah, okay.
Then sorry, I saw another question.
Another question from Budwi. If we no. Oh, the second. Sorry, dengan Pak siapa yang mau bertanya? So there is another sound from the participant actually. So therefore, there's a voice coming up. So the next question, well, just want to specify to Pak Eka Hartomi. So Pak Eka, bisa Pak Eka ya di ininya artikel research yang bisa dicari juga di Embase dengan menghubungkan misalnya tekanan udara dengan panjang sinar matahari dan hubungannya dengan COVID. Nanti tadi yang di ini Pak Eka ya, yang di-show oleh Raymond tadi bisa dengan dicari filternya, kemudian kita pakai N atau OR. Kalau N untuk melimitkan, memperkecil pencariannya, kalau OR kita untuk memperbanyak pencariannya. Jadi kita bisa kombinasikan ya Pak Eka. Bisa ini Pak Eka ya, bisa menjawab Pak Eka ya.
Siap, Mas, siap. Makasih.
Oke, makasih Pak Eka. The next question coming from Budwi Susanti, Raymond. If we save our search strategy and then we open that again another time, let's see 1 or 2 months later, can we see the same result of our result articles 1 or 2 months before, or we just get the new result articles?
Oh, you get everything. So the results, if you search for 1-2 months later, would definitely be different because we update every day. So 1-2 months later, there'll be a lot of new articles pertaining to your search result. But whatever old result you have will be there. Because I have not gone to the result set. Because under result by default is sort by publication year. So the latest year will come out. So whatever you search 1-2 months before will be further down. That means the latest will be on top. Does that answer your question?
Yes, Bu Dwi, apa bisa menjawab Bu Dwi? Jadi bisa saja Bu ya, save-nya di strateginya di save, tapi kalau misalnya 1 atau 2 bulan kemudian dibuka lagi, hasilnya jumlah search-nya, jumlah dokumennya yang bakalan dibuka itu mungkin bisa berbeda Bu, karena di Embase itu setiap hari kontennya itu bertambah Bu Dwi. Jadi bisa kemungkinan itu bisa bertambah nanti hasil dari pencarian, walaupun strateginya sudah kita settle sebelumnya, kita udah save sebelumnya. Bisa menjawab Bu Dwi?
Iya Pak, thank you. Yes.
Okay, thank you. It's clear with Bu Dwi, Raymond. And the next question coming from Bu Maria. Yeah. I want to ask whether Embase provide any terms associated with the term that we want to search, such as mesh terms,
That is a great question, right? Because mesh terms is the terms used by Medline in our Pubmed, whereas in Embase we use M3 terms. There's about 81,000 M3 terms, and there's about 24,000 mesh terms. And all 24,000 mesh terms, have been incorporated into M3. So if you're searching for mesh term, you can continue using them. So when you exploit your mesh term, all the mesh term will be found inside the M3 term as well. So does that answer your question, Maria?
Bu Maria bisa open mic juga untuk ya.
Thank you so much, Mr. Menghua, for the answer. What I want to answer, so if we want to search about the term, we just add the exp or explore term, isn't it?
Yeah, and to be double confirm or to be sure, let's say I saw your example like hernia nucleus, right? So you go to M3, you clean whatever mesh terms that you want to search. See, here they ask you to use this. So you can see whether if your term is included in the synonyms. And I'll tell you that it should be there because all 100% of mesh terms have been incorporated in M3. But to be safe or to be confident, just add whatever term you want into M3 and see what are the synonyms that is being searched. And then you can see whether your term is there. Does that answer your question?
Exactly. Thank you so much, Mr. for the answer.
Right.
Yes. And then there is another question from Bu Suci. I want to ask, do we have to make Embase account to use this search engine?
No, you can use Embase as it is. You can use it search, but if you want to save your searches or set email alerts, then you need to make an account. Then you can log in to do that. Because if you don't log in, the Embase doesn't know where to save the search or where to set the email alerts. But if you have an existing Elsevier account, like you have an account with clinical key, you have an account with Scopus, or your account with Science Direct, you can use your existing Elsevier account login ID to log in into Embase. This called ID Plus. We allow you to use any Elsevier ID to log into any Elsevier products. Does that answer your question?
Is it clear already, Bu Suci?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
All right. Sorry for the brief stop because we need to answer the questions. So let's go back to the next part is how do you export your answer. Let's say number one is the search that I did, and now I want to export my results, right? You export it by selecting any of the curves you like, or you can click on this to select all. But notice when I click on this to select all, you only show selected 25, right? Let me unselect. So now 0. You click select all, there's only 25. But you notice there's 3,290. When I select all 25, why? Because to select all, there's only 25 articles per page in the result. So select all, you only select all on the page. So what do? I will export more. Then you do not select this. You click on select number of items. Right, click on select number of items, you click on it, then you can select 100, 500 or 3,290, right? But again, I don't recommending exporting more than 2,000 items at once. If you have more than 2,000 items, what I will recommend is to filter by publication year, break them down by year, so to get smaller size. Why? Because if you try to export a big number at once, for example, you try to export 3,290 at once, I click export, then you know that the computer will give you the exporting, the icon running. Then maybe if there's any internet connection error, then after half an hour, you show internet connection timeout, then you don't get anything. So I recommend cutting your export size to smaller pieces that you make your exporting a lot faster instead of trying to export everything at once. All right. So let's say in this case, I will export 100, right? Then I click on export. By default, it is to be exported to a .ris format. A .ris format file is a file that you can import into Mendeley or EndNote, right? But under this format, the format is fixed. You cannot change the format because it must be in this fixed format so that Mendeley and EndNote I understand and read it. All right. Of course, you can select it and you can select RefWorks. Again, RefWorks is another format for the kind of reference manager called RefWorks. Again, the format is fixed. But if you do not select RIS or RefWorks, you select any of them. You can select plain text. You can select Word. You can select even PDF. Right? Then you can select whatever you want to export. You can export the title, original title, abstract, original abstract. Okay. Why is there a abstract and original title and title? Because in Embase, we do not only index articles in English. We index articles that are non-English as well. So it may be article in Chinese, Korean, German or French. We will translate it and index it. Hence, there's an original title and original abstract, right? Yeah, of course, other than that, it depends on what else you want. You can put in the M3 drug terms, M3 medical terms, M3 drug index, etc. You can be anything you want. Then once you're happy, then just click on the export, right? So once you click on export, then you go to this export page, and then you start exporting, preparing for export. Then depends on how fast is your internet speed, on how many you select. Of course, now I select 100, and now it's ready. You click on download, and then you're ready. All right. So this is how you export. It's very simple. So any questions on how do you export your articles? It's quite simple, right? So I'm not seeing anything in the chat box, so I assume that you no question export, right? So what about the results? Under results set, if you click on the results, let's open this. Under the results, you can see, right? So this is the title, author, abstract. Then you can see that this is the drug terms that we use to index, which access the term, and this is the disease term. So if you search for gout or pain, you get this result as well. These are the other terms. So you search for Chinese medicine or you search for control study, you'll find this article as well. And this is other additional information, right? So this is from UK journal, but the author is from China. So you can see these are all the other information we provide. And the next thing I'll tell you, let's go back to results. Okay, under results, you can always, even without opening and see the abstract, you click abstract, it opens up abstract. You click on index terms, it opens up index term. Under index term, you can go through any of the terms. And let's say you see something like, okay, let's say you see gout, you're interested. You notice there's these 3 dots. If you click on these 3 dots, you go directly to the M3. So you can have a look at what is it. So you see any interesting things. Let me go back to show it again. Right. So if under any of the results, you click under the index terms, right? You can see any of the wordings here that you like. So let's say you like pain assessment. There's these 3 dots. You click on this, it will link you directly to M3. So I click on it. See, it links you directly to M3 and shows you where is that term under the M3 taxonomy. Yeah, right? Or the information in M3. So this is what you do. And the next thing is, when you search for something, sometimes you need to have additional keywords to help you to filter or expand your search. So sometimes it's very hard to think of for these words. So what you do is what we call the index miner, right? So under number 1, if you click on index miner, you pull out all the indexing terms that is in this 3,290 results. So by default, this is sorted by occurrence. You can sort it by alphanumeric as well if you want, right? But by default, it's sorted by occurrence, right? So you can read through that. Okay, you can go through this list. So, okay, let's say I'm interested in a major clinical trial. I click on it. Then I can go to next page, page 2. I'm interested in a clinical article. Then go to page 3, for example. I'm interested in a systematic review. And then I click on add to query. Again, you notice there's a boolean operator of and or. If you use or, it expands your search. If you click on and, it narrows your search. If you add to query, then I have successfully used those keywords to help to filter and narrow down my hits. So now instead of the 3,000 hits, I'm getting about only 1,000, from 3,200 to 1,000. So index miner is a useful tool for you to click to open up to find all the indexing terms in your result set and use those terms to help you further narrow down your search, right? And then there's also another function called similar records, right? So if you see this article and you think this is useful for you, you can click on similar records. What similar records do is they will look at the indexing terms, right? And find records with similar indexing terms. So it may not necessarily have the search term that you're key in, but you normally have a lot of indexing terms that is found in the original text. So this is called similar records. It works a bit like Google suggests. So again, you can do the same and it comes out with more similar records from that, right? So all these records have similar index term, but may not necessarily have the search term they're interested in. So this is how you use similar records. So this is how you use similar records and index miner. Is there any questions before I move on? Okay, I don't see anything in the chat box, so that's fine. So now let me have a recap. I've shown how to use a quick search, which is by default a broad search. A broad search will always do a /exp, which means explode the search, or free text, right? And show the differences between like you search for an abstract or just a free text, and then show you how to use the filters on the left and the filters on the top, right? And then I've shown you how to save your searches, set email alerts, and how to get a print view to get a printout if you want, and how to export your hits. I've shown you how to use the index miner, how you use the similar records, right? So let's go back to search and to see what other functions are there in Embase. Under Embase, there's also, this is the quick search, right? Under the advanced search. Advanced search is the same as quick search. The only difference is under advanced search, you do the mapping or the filters before you search. So you can add in your quick limits, your fields. So in quick search, you search first, you add the filters later. In advanced search, you can add the filters, then you search, right? So this is only difference in advanced search. And under advanced search, there's 3 other tabs, which is the drug search, is the drug advanced search. The only difference is that it has the drug subheadings and drug fields. Under the disease advanced search, there's the disease subheadings. So there's the only difference. Under the device search, there's the device fields and the device subheadings. All right. So that's all to the advanced search. It's the same as quick search, only that you add the filters before you search. Whereas in quick search, you search first, then you add the filters later. Make sense? All right. And lastly, I'll talk about citation information. This will be the least used function in Embase, because people who use Embase are usually, they are interested in the results. They don't care which author or which journal it comes from. But of course, you can use this function in Embase to type in an article name or an author name or a journal title to find out that information. All right. So what is left is Pico, PV Wizard, and medical device. Right. Is there any questions before I move on to the Pico search page? Again, I don't hear anything. So click on Pico. It comes to this Pico search page. And Pico is a search methodology that is recommended by Cochrane, right? So it breaks down a clinical question to P, which is population or problem, I, intervention, C, comparison, and O, outcome. All right, let me just stop sharing first. Go to my slide, which has a better understanding of Pico for you. Let me just share. Sorry. Share screen, and now let me just share my slides. Okay, can you see my slides now?
Yes, can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The reason I'm going to slide this, sorry. Sorry about that. Okay, because a search methodology to help you answer a clinical question, right? For example, if I have a clinical question like, is there a relationship between liver failure in patients suffering from acute lymphoblastic leukemia under the treatment of this drug, vincristine, right? You type in the full sentence into Embase, into Google or anywhere, you're not going to get your answer. But you break it down to Pico by P for patient or problem or population, I for intervention, C for comparison, or O for outcome. So by breaking it down, now your patient or problem is acute lymphoblastic leukemia. Your intervention is the drug. In this case, there's no comparison because you're not comparing this drug to another treatment. This case is improved liver failure outcome, right? So liver failure. So by doing this, you're breaking it down, then you get your result sets. So this is what we mean by Pico for those who don't understand. Stop share. All right, now I try to share my Embase screen. So this is Embase where we have the Pico search page. This is a form. So it's for you to formulate your Pico strategy. For example, if you're trying to understand about dengue, for example, how does, maybe I understand, how does eating Panadol reduce a fever for dengue? So what is my problem? My problem is dengue. You can type in dengue here and put it in, or you can use the M3 search bar and search for dengue here and look at the taxonomy tree and see whether this is what you want. If this is what you want, then you add it in, it goes there. All right, sorry, I forgot to delete it just now. So if this is what you want, then you go to dengue, you click on plus. And you want to find more information on dengue, you click on I, then it goes to the synonyms and the dollars dictionary part, which is the same as the M3 here, right? Then your intervention, okay, you click on intervention, then the same intervention is I'll see Panadol, right? And comparison, maybe you compare with something like cold bath or nothing. And outcome, you compare if you have better fever, right? So now by doing that, click on show, you automatically combine all these concepts into dengue and paracetamol and fever, right? So this is a heat set, right? Let's go back to the Pico Search. So you can see the Pico Search is very simple. You just key in whatever you want here. All right. You can either use the M3 here to click it in, or you can just click here and type in yourself. And this Pico Search is just a form. So even if you put everything in one page, you just search the same. This is just a form to formulate, but if you put everything in P, it's just a search bar, and you can combine them using and, or, not, next, near. So I think or, and or, you're very familiar. Not, that means to remove. Next, and near is to find adjacent. Next, that means it must be after the word. Near, it can be before or after the word you search, right? So these are all Boolean operators that you can use to search for your results, right? So this is Pico Search form, which is pretty simple. You just follow the form. You can type it directly there, or you can use the M3 bar to search for terms and add it there. So it really depends how you want to do it, but it's the same, right? So any questions on the Pico Search page before I move on to the PV wizard?
Ada pertanyaan Bapak Ibu untuk yang Pico?
There's a question in chat box in Bahasa.
Yes. There is a question from Pak Eka. The question is related to Pico. Do we need to fill in all the field or just few field? Is it enough when we don't need to fulfill all the field, Raymond?
Under the Pico Search, you don't have fill all the field. You see, I can type in something here like, okay, my problem is COVID, right? I don't fill up anything, I just search. So Pico is just a form to guide you in the see, it goes to the search. Pico is just a form to guide you in the Pico search methodology if you are using it. And sometimes in Pico, we understand like there's no comparison. Like I said in the previous example, let's say there's no comparison, they can leave it. You can leave the comparison blank, right? So just fill in whatever is relevant to you, right? This is just a form to guide you. So the good thing is Pico, because if you're using the Pico search methodology, right? Then okay, start P, then you think, okay, what is my problem? What is my patient? Then you key it in. Then you think, okay, what is the intervention? What is the treatment? Then am I comparing to something? Yes, no. If no, skip. And what is the outcome that you like to see? So it guides you through the thought thinking process of Pico, and you fill up the Pico search methodology yourself. Of course, if there's no comparison, you can leave it. And also there's one more thing called study design. You can add in study design like randomized control trial, clinical trial, etc. But if you don't, you can leave it blank. It's okay. So does that answer your question?
Ya, jadi tidak semuanya harus diisi ya Pak Eka ya. Jadi sesuai dengan yang dibutuhkan saja. Misalnya mau di search by ini aja, by population-nya aja, disease-nya aja, misalnya diabetes misalnya. Itu nanti keluar sesuai yang diinginkan. Tapi kalau mau dilanjutkan dengan, karena Pico memberikan guidance juga, intervensinya yang diharapkan apa, comparison perbandingannya apa, hasil yang diinginkan apa, itu bisa dimasukkan di search Pico-nya Pak Eka. Jadi sesuai dengan yang ini Pak Eka ya, sesuai dengan yang dibutuhkan Pak Eka.
Thank you.
Okay. There's another question. Would Embase provide the same result if we search using Pico or search box? That's a great question. Embase will always provide the same result regardless if you search from advanced, quick search or Pico, as long as your search terms are the same. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, a lot of times when people use Pico and they use the quick search, they get different results. It's because they think they're searching the same, but they are not. For example, if under the intervention, put in Panadol, Panadol and you expand it, but if under the quick search you put it Panadol, you never expand it, so it doesn't search for paracetamol, then you don't get same result. Understand? But if you're having the same, because at the end of the day, all these forms, all these search, they are just tools to help you. What is critical is the commands. If your word that you search and the commands that you provided are the same, it will always give you the same results. All right. So I don't see any more questions. So the next thing I'll move on is the PV wizard. Okay. So what is PV wizard? What is PV? PV is a short form for pharmacovigilance, which is the study of adverse events or of drugs, right? It's predominantly used by the pharmaceutical industry to check for adverse events of their drugs that they're selling. However, in some universities or some researchers, they also, if you're interested in study in the adverse events of certain drugs that you're interested in, you can use this. Again, you can see the M3 taxonomy tree there. So what you need to do when you start is to type in your drug that you're interested in. Let's say type in a drug, put it in, and then the default subheadings will be adverse drug reaction, drug toxicity, and drug interaction. Of course, you are able to add in more subheadings if you want, right? You can click on them if you want. If not, this is what you need to do. Just type in the drug name in M3, search for it, add it in, then click on next. Here they ask you for all the synonyms, right? So you can remove whatever synonyms that you don't like. But if you're adding everything, then fine, click next. Then by default, all the adverse drug reaction search terms will be clicked for you, like hepatotox star. Star means asterisk, can be toxicity, toxicology, whatever, right? You see, so all the truncation have been done, like mutagen star, it can be mutagenicity, mutagenic, etc. So all this truncation done. So again, if you're not happy with this, chart, you are more than happy to like delete anything you don't like, right? Let's say you don't like post-market surveillance, you can delete it. And you can add in whatever you want into the search. And of course, if you make a mess, don't worry, you can click on reset form, it goes back to normal, right? So once you're happy with this, you click on next. Then here, the special situation, all the search terms are pre-populated, like taller, star, tolerance, tolerant, etc. And you see even truncation like drug tolerance, drug near 3. That means it can be near. That means it can be before, after the word withdrawal. See, drug withdrawal or withdrawal of the drug or drug something withdrawal. See, all the truncation has been done for you. Again, if you're not happy, you can delete everything and change everything. But if okay everything, you just click next. Right, then this is the human limits. Then you can select publication years or records listed, etc. But if you leave everything by default, you notice that what I need to do is just key in the drug name and click next, and then when I click on results, Embase will combine everything to me, and I'll get the final results of 2,656 results on that particular drug on PV. All the PV search terms have been searched. Okay, there's a question. Is searching with PV wizard limited to drugs name only? Is it applicable for the drugs name, or can you use the drugs categorization? Under the PV wizard, unfortunately, is for a particular drug only. If you want the drugs categorization, then you don't use PV wizard. You can use the quick search or quick search or M3 to start your categorization. Hope that answer your question, Suchi. Because under PV wizard, you must start on with a drug name. Does that answer the question?
Bu Suci, apa bisa menjawab tadi penjelasan dari Raymond, Bu Suci? I think no.
Okay, I assume
No
they
response
replied,
yet,
so
yeah.
that's answer question. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go back to PV wizard. The next thing in PV wizard that you want to know is that under the PV wizard, the good thing is you can see on the top here, there's this EMA MLM searches. Okay, EMA is the European Commission, is the equivalent of FDA, but for Europe, EMA. MLM will stand for the Medical Literature Monitoring, right? If you click on this, again, you need to log in because this goes to your safe folder. You remember here, this is a safe folder. So the MLM is a tab here under the safe folder, right? So you can see the MLM core strategy. You can make use of this core strategy to search for anything that is drug related, right? You can select it and click rerun and run the same drug strategy as them and then combine them with whatever terms you want. Or you can click on the chemical substance and see what are the chemicals that EMA has searched. Let's say this is the drug you want. You can see how exactly have they searched for it. Again, you're interested, you can click on it and click on rerun and run the same drug search that EMA has done. So this will be exactly the same results that EMA has gotten from Embase. All right. But it's taking a lot of space, so maybe let's delete first. Again, this is taking a lot of space. Okay, sorry. I'll go back to my tools under the MLM search. Save search, MLM, all right. So under there, there's chemical searches, right? And then there's also herbal searches. So you're interested in herbal, right? For example, soya, you know, then you see this is how they search for soya. Again, you can click on it and rerun, or you can see how do they search for this and learn, you know, what are some of the truncations or some of the keywords that they use, and apply all these words or keywords to your own search. So you may not necessarily be doing pharmacovigilance studies, but this is a wealth of knowledge. You can easily come here and see how does the regulatory body search and what are the keywords they use and what are the truncations that they use and how do they search, and then apply them to your own search. Okay, there's a question. Do we have to type the terms one by one or any way to copy automatically from M3? Okay, this is a good question. So you don't have to type one by one, right? So under M3, let's say you search for something, let's say, okay, using tumor as example, right? So let's say you're interested in magnesium neoplasm, you click on it, right? You just add the query builder, it comes here, right? Then let's say you are searching for something else. Let's say you like congenital, congenital cancer. Again, you just add the query builder. So you can see you can add one by one. So you don't have to type in or copy and paste. Then once you're happy with everything, you just click search. All right. So does that answer your question, Maria?
Yes, it is. Thank you, sir.
All right. So you don't have to copy one by one, but if you want, you can also copy and paste as well. But M3 allows you to just edit directly. Okay. So we are going to the end of our training session soon. So I've covered PV Wizard. Is there any question in PV Wizard before I move on to the medical device search? All right, I don't hear anything. So I don't see anything in the chat box. So there's no question. Okay, the medical device search will be very similar to the PV Wizard, only that now it is aligned up top to bottom instead of PV Wizard, which is you must click next to go to the next page. So under here, under medical device, you click on add device name. You can go to the M3 and search for a general device, or you can search for a medical device, or you can just type in the medical device. So in this case, I start with Stan. I add device name. So once you add it in, there's a specific 9 synonym for this. So these are the 9 specific synonyms or alternative names for the medical device. I click add. Then you can include subheadings. You can have adverse device effect. You can do a device comparison, clinical trial, or device economics. Depending on what you want, you can just select them. Right. Next, you come to adverse events. You click on this. This is the default one. Again, you can click on edit, and then you can delete stuff or add stuff if you want. Once you're happy, or if you make a mistake, don't worry, you can reset as well. Then once you're happy, you just update, edit in, right? Next is a specific adverse event for the device, for this device. So you can see there's 240 specific adverse events. Again, you can scroll through them. If you think this is not what you want, you can remove them, right? You can remove, or you think this is not enough, you add more. Again, you can add more. then you click add. So it comes here. Of course, in this case, this doesn't make sense, so remove it. So once you're happy, you just add everything there, right? So now I'll show you that because this is specific. So if I delete everything and if I change the device, then everything will change. So my device, if I change to CCAP, notice now there's 63 synonyms instead of 9, because now there's a lot more trade names for CCAP device. Again, you can add more synonyms if you don't find it there, or remove anything that you don't like, right? Then you do the same for here, but now you notice that the specific adverse events is 97. That's now for STAN, there was 200 plus, right? So you can see there's the difference here. So this will be specific to your medical device that you put in, right? So once you're done, you can add study limits if you want, publication year if you want. If not, you just click show. So you'll see that this works exactly like the PV wizard, but it's only catered for medical device. It's quite simple. So is there any question on medical device? Is there any questions on medical device? Excuse me.
Ada pertanyaan Bapak Ibu untuk yang medical device? Kalau ada pertanyaan yang PV Wizard sebelumnya juga boleh, jadi feel free aja Bapak Ibu ya untuk menanyakan apapun pertanyaan yang ada yang Bapak Ibu mau tanyakan. No questions, Raymond?
All right. Let me go back to Pico. There's one thing I forgot that I forgot to add while talking about Pico just now.
Yeah.
Under the Pico search page, if you search for synonym, you search for any term, you can access the synonym by adding add synonyms and click on it. And then this exposes the synonym. Under the Pico search page, this is the only page where you can remove the synonyms that you think is not necessary. You can't do the same under the traditional M3 search. But under the Pico search, under the Pico, when you search for M3, you have the ability to remove synonyms you think that are not suitable for you. All right, this is what I forgot to add. All right, so now the last part of this training is how do we access help? Where's the help page? How to access help, right? So when you enter into Embase, this is the default page. How do you access the help? You see this question mark here. You see my mouse hovering over the question mark here. You click on it, it opens up the Embase help page. Under help page, you can see what the release notes, what's Elsevier doing, or Embase quick user guide. You click on Embase quick user guide, right? Then you see here for a quick overview, you click on quick user guide. You click on this, it downloads a PDF that shows you how to use Embase in the step-by-step manner. All right. So if you can read through this guide as well to get a better understanding of Embase. Right. Other than that, you click on training, under training, it goes to training and where can I find video tutorials? You want video tutorials, you click on this, Is there any training session or webinars? If you click on this, you go to the webinar page, which is quite interesting and quite helpful. Okay, the font is a bit big. Let me just make it smaller. Right. So you can see under webinar, you can see these are all the program lists that we have done. So this was conducted by the Mbase product team, right? And sometimes they will they invite some key opinion leaders. It can be from the corporations or from university to share the experiences, like searching for adverse effects of medical device in Medline and Base, or librarians' role in evidence-based medicine for healthcare, or systematic reviews with Mbase and Mendeley. If this is something you like, you click on it, expand it, right? Then click on view the webinar recording. So we can scroll back and see like best practices for validating literature monitoring searches. You can click on it, right? Then you see sometimes there's no only webinar recording, there's slides also. So click on here, you can download the slides, or click on here to listen to the webinar recording. So you can see there's a lot of information here, like drug analytics in Embase, or like Embase for medical searching, indexing, and retrieval, So there's a lot of content here that you can use. All right. So this is how you use your help page in Embase, right? With that, I'll come to the end of my Embase training session. The last part will be the quiz, but before we proceed to the quiz, is there any questions?
Ya, jadi kita sudah sampai ke akhir dari training kita, Bapak Ibu. Kita masuk ke sesi tanya jawab sebelum ada quiz nantinya. Jadi feel free bagi Bapak Ibu yang punya pertanyaan untuk open mic atau mengetik di chat box untuk pertanyaan yang mau ditanyakan. Silakan Bapak Ibu semuanya.
So is there any other questions?
Let's wait for a moment. Boleh, ini Bapak Ibu ya, boleh open mic kalau ada yang ditanyakan. Jadi seperti yang sudah dijelaskan secara detail oleh Raymond tadi, untuk memakai Embase, untuk search-nya Bapak Ibu tidak perlu login dengan username. Tapi kalau untuk menyimpannya, searching field-nya mau disimpan, nah nanti harus pakai username, dan username-nya itu bisa username yang Bapak Ibu sudah gunakan di Science Direct, di Scopus, di Clinical Key, itu bisa user ID-nya bisa dipakai untuk login ke Embase juga. Jadi tidak ada masalah. Dan yang terpenting salah satunya tadi itu untuk Bapak Ibu kalau mau tahu ini informasi-informasi mengenai training, webinar yang terkait dengan bagaimana cara penggunaannya Embase, atau webinar yang berkaitan dengan topik-topik Embase, itu bisa mengakses di tanda tanya di Embase tadi ya Bapak Ibu. Jadi banyak konten-konten yang bisa dipergunakan di field itu nantinya. Oke, ada itu sedikit summary dari saya ya Bapak Ibu. Sampai di sini kalau masih saya lihat belum ada yang pertanyaan, apakah kita lanjut ke kuis saja Bu Vita?
Boleh Pak Irwan, silahkan.
Ya,
Nggak apa-apa,
ya.
kita lebih cepat
Ya.
menyelesaikan kalau
Ya.
memang tidak ada pertanyaan.
Oke, siap Bu. Yeah, we can go to quiz directly, Raymond, because there's no
Right.
question yet.
So there's 3 questions in the quiz. I'll start off with the first question. So the first one who enter the answer into the chat box or unmute and answer will win, right?
Yes, correct.
Right. So this is the first question. When you do a broad search in Embase, does it search for all synonyms? Right. Dewey has answered yes, and that's the correct answer. Congratulations.
Yep.
Right. So
Selamat selamat Bu Dwi yang pertanyaannya benar. Kemudian we can go to the second quiz.
so let's go to the second question.
Yep.
Do you need to log into Embase to save searches and set email alerts? Wow, there's a lot of answers. But who's the first one?
The first one is Budian Novita. Congrats, Bu Budian.
Congrats.
Yeah.
All right. So we have finished the second question. So now I'm going to do the third questions. Get ready. See if you want to massage your fingers so you can type faster.
Yeah.
So ready? I'm going for the third question now. How often is Embase updated? All right. Again,
Yeah.
I think then Novita is the fastest. Embase is updated daily.
Yeah.
Yes, that's it. So that's the end of my question. Thank you so much for attending this Embase training session. I hope you have a better understanding of how to use Embase and learn how to navigate Embase and perform your searches, export the results, save your searches, or set your alerts. All right. So I'll pass the time back to Erwan or yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Raymond. So, Bapak Ibu, kita sudah sampai di penghujung acara kita, training kita hari ini. Semoga semua penjelasan ini, yang diberikan oleh Raymond ini bisa dipakai nanti diterapkan untuk mengakses Embase nantinya. Sebelum kita akhiri ini mungkin kita serahkan ke Bu Vita dulu untuk menutup training kita pagi ini, siang ini, Bu Vita ya. Silakan Bu Vita.
Ya. Terima kasih Pak Irwan, thank you Raymond. Jadi hari ini kita sudah menyelesaikan sesi pertama dari pelatihan online sosialisasi dan pelatihan database Embase. Nanti masih ada sesi yang kedua. Jadi Bapak Ibu yang tadi mungkin ada yang ketinggalan bisa ikut di sesi yang kedua atau bisa kasih tahu ke teman-temannya yang hari ini, yang pada pagi ini tidak bisa bergabung, mungkin di siang hari nanti bisa bergabung. So see you soon, Raymond, at the second session. Dan mungkin itu aja, kita tutup sama-sama. Terima kasih. Selamat siang, selamat makan siang. Silakan Pak Irwan, terima kasih banyak.
Terima kasih Bu Vita.
Ya.
So before close the Zoom, Raymond, Bu Vita, we will use just to make the same understanding. We will use the previous user ID that you just said.
Baik, kita bisa mulai. Saya menunggu rekan-rekan yang lain. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Selamat siang semuanya. Terima kasih sudah bergabung di ruang Zoom kita pada siang hari ini. Senang sekali saya, Luciana Monohevita, sebagai wakil dari Perpustakaan UI, bisa menyambut kehadiran dari rekan-rekan semua yang akan mengikuti sosialisasi dan pelatihan online database Embase pada sesi kedua di siang hari ini. Embase adalah online database yang memang baru dilanggan oleh Perpustakaan UI pada tahun ini ya, di tahun 2022. Ini dilakukan atas permintaan dari Dekan Fakultas Kedokteran UI yang meminta kami untuk melanggankan ini mulai dari tahun ini, dan alhamdulillah disetujui. Sehingga pada siang hari ini kita bisa bertemu bersama untuk mendengarkan sosialisasi dan pelatihan atau pemaparan yang nanti akan disampaikan oleh Raymond dari Singapura. Dan juga pada siang hari ini kita akan dipandu oleh moderator kita nanti, Bapak Irwan. Baik, mungkin saya tidak panjang-panjang kata untuk pembukaan kegiatan kita pada siang hari ini. Langsung saja saya serahkan kepada Pak Irwan untuk mulai memandu kegiatan kita pada siang hari ini. Terima kasih semuanya. Semoga kegiatan ini bermanfaat dan meningkatkan pemanfaatan kita terhadap online database yang dilanggan perpustakaan. Karena kalau semakin bagus pemanfaatannya, maka kita bisa terus melanggan online database yang mungkin sangat kita butuhkan dan berguna untuk meningkatkan pengajaran, penelitian, dan sebagainya di perpustakaan dan di UI pada umumnya. Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih Bu Vita. Kita lanjutkan saja langsung. Sebelum kita mulai ke presentasi kita, saya perkenalkan diri dulu. Nama saya Irwan Gafar, saya Senior Account Manager dari Elsevier untuk Indonesia. Siang hari ini training Embase User Training kita akan dideliver oleh rekan saya Raymond Teng dari Singapura. Di siang ini adalah session kedua dari Embase User Training yang kita adakan. Tadi pagi kita juga sudah adakan user training, dan sekarang juga yang kedua yang kita adakan khusus untuk para user, dosen, mahasiswa, dan peneliti. Kita harapkan di sesi kita ini, user training ini bisa sifatnya trainingnya interaktif sekali ya Bapak Ibu sekalian, sehingga kalau nantinya Raymond anytime Bapak Ibu kalau ada pertanyaan waktu Raymond menjelaskan mengenai Embase, bisa di-cut saja, Bapak Ibu bisa menanyakan pakai open mic langsung atau di chat room juga boleh. Pertanyaannya boleh dalam bahasa Inggris langsung, boleh dalam bahasa Indonesia juga, dan kita nanti bantu translate sama-sama nanti ya Bapak Ibu. Oke, mungkin itu dari saya karena waktu kita juga singkat. Raymond, let's start the training, Raymond, and hand it over to you.
Sure. Thanks, everyone. Hi, good afternoon. My name is Raymond. I'm based in Singapore. I'll be your trainer for Embase today. Thank you for attending this session. If you have any questions, you can type in your questions in the chat or unmute yourself and ask the question at any time or during the presentation. I'll firstly share my screen. Right. So this is a slide. So today you are here to attend the Embase training. So this is the agenda. I'll start off with showing you what is Embase and compare it with Scopus and Medline. Then I'll go through the actual training of how to search in Embase, how to use the filters, etc., and how to export your results in Embase, how to save your searches, how to set email alerts, followed by the Pico Search page. The PV wizard, which stands for pharmacovigilance wizard, is mostly used by drug searching for the adverse events of drugs. And then there's a medical device page, followed by how to get or access help, the help page in Embase. And lastly, at the end of this session, we have a quiz. There'll be 3 questions, right? Okay. I'll be sharing my screen. Of my Embase. Can you see my Embase screen right now?
Yep.
All right. So by default, once you access Embase, this will be the landing page. Access of Embase is granted by IP access. So as long as you are in the UI IP range, you get to use Embase. All right. But there are some functions in Embase that requires you to register and log in to Embase to use it. Like you want to save your searches or you want to set email alerts. That requires you to have a user ID in Embase. If you have an existing Elsevier user ID from Clinical Key, Science Direct, or Scopus, or any Elsevier product, you can use that user ID to log on onto Embase. If you do not, then you can register, click on sign on and register for your own user ID for Embase. Make sure you use your university email address. All right. So now I'll compare the differences between Embase, Scopus, and Pubmed. First, I'll start searching for a drug in Scopus. As long as whatever you search is biomedical in nature, be it health-related, medical, nursing, as long as biomedical related, you will always get more results in Embase. So now I do a search of this drug called Acoxia in Scopus. So this is live. You see, I only get about 311 documents because Scopus is a keyword search. So whatever you search for it as it is. You will not search for alternative names. You will not search for synonyms. You will not search for any other names, right? So now I'll go to Pubmed. I do the same, right? And I search. Now I'm getting about 842 hits. Why? Because you go to advanced, you look under the details, you notice that under Pubmed or Medline, it searches for the mesh terms, which the other term for Acoxia is atorvastatin, which is being searched. Hence, you are getting a lot more hits here. Now, if I do the same in Embase, straight away when I type, Embase is prompting me to use the M3 preferred term, but to be fair, I'm using Akoxia to show an example. Even before clicking on search, it really shows you that there's 3,290 results. So I click on show results. What does Embase do is that it does a broad search by doing an explosive search on the search term, which is a /exp. It explodes the term and search for it as a free text as well. This is what we call a broad search. So when I explode the term, right, you search for all synonyms, all other terms that you have, right? Hence, you're getting about 3,200. So let's have a quick look at M3. Don't worry, I'll show M3 again later. So when you search for the word Ecosia and you explode it, these are all the other synonyms that's being searched, the chemical names, alternative names, other names are all being searched. But Scopus is that's a keyword search, so you only get 311. You don't search for any other words. And in Pubmed, it only searches for enterocopsid and not any other terms. So you're only getting about 800 hits, right? So now I hope you have a better understanding of the differences between Embase versus Scopus versus Medline, right? So like I say, this is the default page when you access Embase. It's under quick search. So later I'll show you the advanced search, the drug search, disease, device, citation information, Pico, PV wizard, and medical device. But now let's concentrate on the quick search. Under quick search, a default would be a broad search. Like I explained earlier, a broad search means you explode the term that you search and search for it as a free text. However, you have the ability to search for other things as well. Like here, you can click on add field, right? Then you can click on, let's say I'm only searching in title, right? Then type in again, Akoxia as an example, right? And now I search. Notice by searching Akoxia as a title, right? I'm only getting 12 hits. And all the results Akoxia, you can see the word in the title. However, if you did a broad search like I showed you earlier, you explode it and search as a free text. That means free text, the text can be anywhere in the document, or explode, that means it must be in the index term. That means one of the synonyms or one of the terms is under under the index terms, right? So this is how you search under quick search in Embase. Before I continue, is there any questions? No, right? So the next thing I'll show you what's the difference between all these, right? If I just do a Akoxia /exp, that means it's explode, then it doesn't search for it as a free text, then it's not a broad search. It's just an exploded search, right? If I search for it now, you can see that it's 3285 compared to 3290. So when you do search for the free text, sometimes you get a difference as well. And then also the next thing is when I type in Akoxia, right, /exp, right? If I use a preferred M3 term, you see, it gets the same result, 3285, 3285. It gets the same result. However, if I did a broad search, see now instead of Akoxia, I'm using preferred M3 term, and we know that when we explode, it gives the same result. However, when you do a broad search, because of the free text, you see now it's 3375 versus 3290, because the free text will result in a different result set. So be careful when you're searching for, make sure you are doing, you always look at the commands. Are you doing a title search? Are you doing an exploded search? Or are you doing a broad search? Because all these will result in a slightly different result set. All right. And then as for the results, you can use the filters on the left-hand side to sort them out. So by default, you click on sources. It shows you how much is from Embase, how much is from Medline. Because a search on embase.com from Elsevier, you're searching for both Embase and Medline content. Of course, you can select this and click apply to get Embase unique content if you want to, right? But it depends on what you want, right? Then other than that, there's other filters like drugs, disease, device. I'll talk about these three later because these are what we call the triple link filters. Of course, you can use the floating subheadings. You can sort by age, sort by gender, sort by study types. If you're interested in human and control study, you just click apply. Then you can see now, you show you number 1, which is this, followed by control study and human limits, which are the filters you use. All right. So it really depends on what filters you are interested in. You can sort by publication type, article, review, Cochrane abstract. You can sort by journal titles. You can sort by publication year. And what is interesting about Embase is that we index the drug trade names and the drug manufacturers as well. So you can see Pfizer, Merck, Novartis, etc. And if you are doing a search for a medical device, you get device trade names and device manufacturers as well. Of course, because what I did here was a search on the drug. So if I do a medical device search, let's search broadly as possible. Right. So if now I go to device trade names, you can get a lot more. And if I see device manufacturer, now I can see ResMed, Philips, Fisher and Paykel, etc. You can see all the medical device companies being indexed now, right? So notice that the filters is dependent. Some of filters are depending on the search, right? But for the rest of them should be pretty much the same, right? So now I'll show you about the filters. The unique part is the triple link filters, is the drug, disease, and device. You click on drugs, right? It pops up all the drugs you have searched under your search, which is number 1, 3,290 hits. So you can scroll through the drugs and see what you're interested in. For example, if this is a drug I'm interested in, I click on details. You notice there's a pop-up box. Yeah, there's adverse drug reaction, drug combination, drug comparison, drug interaction, drug therapy, special situation for pharmacovigilance, unexpected outcome of drug treatment. So depending on what I'm interested, let's say I'm interested in adverse drug reaction, when I click on it, see another table pops up. Hence, this is called triple link filter. 1, 2, 3. Under triple link filter, you can see that for this drug, number 1 reported case of adverse events is hypertension. There's 73 articles talking about it, followed by gastrointestinal symptom. There's 67 articles that talk about it, followed by cardiovascular disease and heart infection and thrombosis and so on, right? So from a glance, if you're a researcher, a doctor, a medical practitioner, straight away you know that the adverse events of this drug is hypertension or gastrointestinal or any heart-related problems. So if you have a patient with heart problems, straight away you know that this drug is not suitable. Or you have a patient who's suffering for hypertension, then you know that this drug is not suitable. And you can go and do like for search for drug therapy, right? So when we do for drug therapy, straight away it tells you this drug is mostly used to treat pain, rheumatoid arthritis, pain, ankylosing spondylitis, gout. So you can see from straight away, this is sort of like a painkiller, because most of the treatments, right, or drug therapy that is used to treat are really sort of pain related, right? Of course, you can do the search under disease, and now you search all the disease under your search. And when you search for a drug, you see all the disease that comes out are rheumatoid arthritis, osteoarthritis, pain, etc. So again, this is related to pain, and you can do the reverse to triple link filter, right? You can go to drug therapy, and it tells you these are all the drugs that you have done, right? And whatever you do, right, once you go to your triple link, you can scroll down. I can click export. When I click export, it export that list to a CSV, which you can download as a CSV, and then you can open it in Excel. And if you're interested, for those who are studying the adverse effects of drugs, then you can go through the list and study the list of adverse effects to find out whether is all these adverse effects true, or some of them might be artifact, or some people may have, okay, for example, drowsiness. Some people may be drowsy. It's not because they took the drug, but could it be that they're drowsy because they took the drug? So it's for the people who are studying the adverse events of drug to do a more thorough study, make sure that this is a real artifact, real adverse event of the drug. All right. So this is for filters on the left, right? Any questions for the filters of the left before I move on to the filters on the top? Okay, I don't see anything in the chat box, and there's nobody unmuting, so I assume there's no questions. For the filters on the top, it's quite interesting, right? Let me delete everything, right? So there's mapping, there's date, sources, fields. So what's interesting is fields. So for example, again, I'm using Arcoxia as an example, right? So you can fields and type in the abstract, title, and then or index term. Then I do a search. So this will search for the word under abstract, title, and index term. Right. So as long as you find it in the title or abstract or index term, it will come out. Right. Or alternatively, let's say you are looking for a journal from Indonesia. Then type in Indonesia. Right. Then you go to fields. You select country of journal or country author, depending on looking for author or journal. Let's say type in country or journal, pops a CY and search. So now it search as it tells you that was a 4,000 plus journals from Indonesia, right? Let's say Omicron search and the future of COVID vaccination, medical journal of Indonesia, 2022. You can open it up. You scroll down and see country of source, Indonesia. Okay, let's go back to results. And also we can use it to find the language as well. But of course, language, I did a demonstration earlier. If I put in Indonesia, right, I remove the CY, I go to fields, and if touch in language, right, then I search, it will not get me anything because Indonesia is not a language, it's a country. So I need to change to Indonesian, right? Then Indonesian is a language, and I search. So now Indonesian, I get 292. So you go and look under the details, right? It will show you language of article is Indonesian, right? So under the filters, it really depends on what you want to do, but it's pretty straightforward. Just type in your words and then followed by you go to fields and select whatever fields you're looking for, right? It's very simple. Of course, you can go for languages here as well, Indonesian as well. So this is another way, or can go for gender, age, or animals. All right. So that's how you do a search. And of course, because this is what we call a systematic search, you can combine searches. For example, if I type in adverse event, let's go for search as broadly as possible. Right. So now I have adverse event. Let's say I combine with number 1, which is akoxia, and adverse event. I can combine using the Boolean operator and or or. When you combine using and, it narrows a search because it must fulfill both criteria. It must have akoxia and adverse event, then it's considered a hit. So combine. So now instead of the 3,200 or adverse event, which has about 900,000, you get only 712. That means this combined adverse event and akoxia. That means these are articles that talks about akoxia and also adverse event. But if I select akoxia and adverse event and I combine them using or, when I combine, now it expands, you get 1 million. Because now can be A or B, akoxia or either or. So you get more, right? So when you want to narrow your search, use and. When you expand your search, use or. It's pretty simple. After having all this search, let's say this is a search strategy, you can add in many search fields, many combination. It's up to you. You can combine as many as you want, right? You may want to save all this. So how do you save all your search strategy? Firstly, remember you need to register login, or otherwise it'll prompt you, please sign in to save, right? So let's just select all and I click save, right? So straight away you go to your save folder, and then of course these are all the other folders which have done demos or training. You click new, right? Right. This is the second session that I've done today, so I put demo 2, right? You can put anything you want, then create a folder, and then save it as a name, whatever you want, and save it, right? So it will call UI demo, right? So this is all you have saved inside. Let's go back to results. Let's say I delete everything because you leave, you exit Embase, right? You come back tomorrow. So when you go to Embase, this is what you see. Everything's empty, right? So you go to results. So tomorrow you come in, everything's empty. Results should be empty as well. So how do you recall your saved searches? You go to My Tools, see again, My Tools. You click on it. You go to your saved searches. Click on the saved searches. Then find the folder that you have done, you have saved, which is UI demo 2. In this case, you can select any of them, or you can select all, and then click on rerun. This will rerun all your saved searches and any of the filters or commands that you've added that you have saved. Like you see, some of the filters are still here, right? So you can rerun everything. right? So, and then also I understand for people doing systematic review or evidence-based medicine, you're supposed to save your search strategy. Or sometimes when you submit your article to a journal, the editor may ask you to ask you for your search strategy, and then if you save it, you can retrieve it and print it out. And also in terms of you want to print it out, you can click on select all, then click on print view. It opens up into this page, and you just go to your print this page to your printer. Quite simple. Or you save this as soft copy. You can export under HTML, text, or CSV, and click export. Or you can click on email and email it to anyone you want. All right. So this is for the search strategy and how to save it, how to print it, how to export it, how to email it, right? So any questions on the search string or the search strategy?
Baik, Bapak Ibu, sampai di sini ada pertanyaan. Bisa, kalau ada pertanyaan bisa langsung open mic aja, Bapak Ibu, atau di deliver di chat room aja bisa juga. Silakan Bapak Ibu kalau ada pertanyaan. No question yet, Raymond, go on.
Okay, so the next thing I'll show you is how to set email alerts. Let's say this is your final search string, you set email alert. Notice that number 15, you look at number 15, okay, ignore my mouse, because whenever my mouse hover over it, right, there's a blue line. But when you ignore my mouse, let me just uncheck this, right? You can see number 15 now is highlighted in orange. So this is the current string. But let's say I click on this, right? Then now you notice number 1 is the one that is highlighted in orange, right? So you see this set email alert. If I click on this set email alert, I'll be setting an email on 1. But if you want to set email on 15, make sure you click on 15, right? Alternatively, if you do not want to make the mistake, you hover your mouse over number 15, you move it across the other side, you can see this set email alert. You click on it, then you can set the email alert. Again, you put a demo, right? Then you can set in, make sure your email address is correct. This email address is provided when you register for your Elsevier account. So you can choose a format, the selection, the frequency. Because for people doing systematic review evidence-based study, they're supposed to review their work once every week. So you can set it on Thursday, for example, or you can set it for Tuesday, or you can set it for every 2 weeks or set it for every month. It's up to you. Once you're happy, you can click on set email alert and it'll be set. So every month they'll send an alert by email to you, right? Then how to change or alter your email alerts? Again, you go to My Tools, look at My Tools, and click on it. Under My Tools, last time we go to Save Searches, right? But now you're not looking at Save Searches, we're looking at email alerts. So click on Email Alerts, and then you can see your demo UI is here. So when you hover over it, you can see the word edit comes up, right? You click on edit. So now inside you can change to instead of every month, you can change to every week, Tuesday. And there's a box here. You can click on it to send alert only when there are new results. If you don't click, you just send you alert. All right. So once you're done again, you just click save. Right. But after you finish your study, right, you continue receiving an alert, and that can be quite annoying. So how do you delete the alert? You select the alert, then click on delete. Let me show you again. So you select whichever alert you want to delete, click on it, and then click on delete and click delete. And now you remove the alert. You will no longer receive the email alert from this alert that you set up. All right. And that's for the top part of the Embase result screen, which is your search screen, right? So now I move on to the bottom part, which is your results, right? So is there any questions before I show you the results? How to export the results? Again, I don't see anything in the chat box, so I assume there's no questions. All right, under results, how to export? You can export by selecting, the content that you want. Right, so you select 1, 3, and 7, and then click on export. Or you can select all, but notice when select all, there's only 25 selected because there's only 25 results in a page. So if you want to select more than that, then uncheck it and use the select number of items. You click on it, you can select 100, 500, or 5,000, etc. Right? So let's go to result number 1. There's 3,290. So click, you see, you can select 3,290. But when there's more than 3,290, for example, like advertisement, there's 900,000. So here, there's 998,000. You select, you notice you can go only a maximum 60,000. Right, because there's really no reason for someone to export so many data. And then also, if you want to export anything more than 1 or 2,000, right? I don't recommend exporting them all at once. I recommend them breaking down to smaller bits. So how to break down the smaller bits? I recommend using the publication year and filter them by years. So you export them by years is smaller. Why do I suggest that? Because if you try to export like 3,290 at once, you click export, what happens? You see a computer screen, exporting, there goes around and circle. Then maybe after 10 minutes, 15 minutes, then get internet connection error. Then nothing is exported. Then you waste your time. So by cropping them into smaller chunks, right, it makes the export process a lot faster. So instead of exporting like 2,000 at once, you can export it 500 each, or export to chunks of 100 or 200. It's up to you, right? So once you decided on the number, click on export. By default, you export as a .ris format, which allows you to import into Mendeley or EndNote for a reference manager. So for this, you cannot change the format because it must be this format so that Mendeley and EndNote can recognize it. Or if you choose RefWorks again, it must be this fixed format so that RefWorks understands it. But if you choose any other format like CSV or even Excel or even Word or even PDF, then you can choose whatever format you want. You can export the title, original title, abstract, original abstract. So why is there a title, original title, abstract, original abstract? Because inside Embase.com, we do not only index English articles, we also index articles from other language. It may be Japanese, Korean, Chinese, German, French, etc. We will translate it to English and we index it. Right. However, if the full text is not in English, we do not provide that full text in English. It's up to you to translate yourself. But our indexer will translate it before indexing it. All right. Hope you get that clear. Right. So if you're ready to export, you can just click on export. So what does this do? You pop up an export screen, and then you tell you prepare for export. Then this will depend on your internet speed. Right. Once it's done, you're ready. Just click download. It's very simple. All right. So I'm not going to download it. Let's close it. Right. So any question on how to export your results? Okay. This is quite a quiet crowd compared to the morning. A lot more questions in the morning. So I don't see any questions now, no worries. So that's export, right? So that's a summarize. I show you how you use quick search, what is a broad search, and what's the difference between the explosive search and the broad search, or explosive search versus a title search, etc. Right? And then I've shown you how to save your search strategy, print it, or export it as a soft copy. I've shown you how to set email alerts. I've shown you how to use the filters. I've shown you the triple link filters and how Embase will index the drug or device trade names and manufacturers. I've shown you how to use the filters at the top. And then lastly, I've shown you how to export your results set. All right. So now let's talk about the results. By default, the results are sorted by publication year. So this is always the earliest publication. But you can sort by relevance. If you sort by relevance, that means they go through the index terms. The higher it is in bold, that means it's a major focus of this article, right? So it's more relevant to you because it's a major focus. Or you can sort by default publication year, or you can sort by entry date. So entry date, right? It may not be 2022. In this example, it is. But in this example, you see 2021, but it has a higher entry date than the 2022 article. Why? Because in Embase, we update our M3 terms 3 times a year. So whenever we update our M3 terms, what we'll do is we index all older articles. So when we index older articles and found the term in the older article, then it gets a new entry date. So hence, you sort by entry date, you will get an older article that has a new entry date, right? But by default, it's sort by publication year, all right? Then what about what's M3? I talk about what's M3. So if you click on M3, right? And this is the power of engine or the engine of Embase. You can type in anything here, for example, Arcoxia, which I showed earlier, right? It maps to this term. And under M3 taxonomy tree, you can see this is where it's housed. Like it's under a COX-2 inhibitor, it's under a non-steroid anti-inflammatory agent, it's under anti-rheumatic agent, right? And these are the synonyms, these are the chemical names, etc. Right? You can do whatever term you want that you want to search, like tumor. There's a British American spelling. There's TUMOR, right, or TUMOUR. But whichever type doesn't matter. It maps to neoplasm. So let's have a look at neoplasm. Under M3 taxonomy tree is under physical disease, right? Under neoplasm, you see there's tumor, metastasis, etc. And then under the synonyms, you see TUMOR, TUMOUR, both the British and American spelling is both search. So when you do a broad search or explosive search, right? You see like here, explosive search, right? You search for all these terms. Of course, the definition from the Dorland's medical dictionaries are provided as well, right? And this is where M3 gets interesting. Let's say after you search for your term in M3 under the taxonomy tree, you find that, okay, these are not what you want. Actually, you're more interested in metastasis. You can click on it, and then now it goes under metastasis, which is under M3 is under neoplasm, but under itself, there's still a lot of other subheadings. Right? For example, I'm interested in endocrine system metastasis. I can click on this, right? Then now you can see, instead of searching for a broad term like neoplasm, you get a lot of noise, a lot of results. You have narrowed your results to endocrine system metastasis. And if this is what you want, you can easily just add this to Query Builder and put it there, right? And some people also use this as a starting point for search. They come to M3, search for something, add it there, then they add something else. Let's say treatment, right? Treatment, right? Add this to Query Builder. See, then you just search. So you can just add, and then you get your search string here and get the results here. So it doesn't matter if you start from quick start or start from M3 or can start from any point in Embase. As long as your search terms are the same, the commands are the same, you always get back the same answers, same results. All right, like they say, all roads lead to Rome, right? So is there any question on M3 or the M3 taxonomy tree?
Ada pertanyaan Bapak Ibu sampai di M3 ini. Kalau ada pertanyaan untuk yang penjelasan sebelumnya juga boleh ditanyakan ya Bapak Ibu sekalian.
Okay, while waiting, right? If you have questions or not, let me discuss one of the questions asked by the earlier group today, right? So one of them asked, is the mesh terms? The mesh terms are the terms used in Medline or Pubmed, right? Are they included in Embase? Yes, 100% of mesh terms are all included into M3 terms. There's about 82,000 M3 terms, and there's about 24,000 M terms. All 24,000 mesh terms are included inside the M3 inside Embase. All right. So in case any one of you have this question, hope that answer your question. And this question was posted earlier today in the morning session. No? Okay.
Yep.
So no question. So now I finished showing you how to do the quick search, which is the default search in Embase. So let's move over to advanced. So advanced search is actually the same as quick search. The only difference is you get to add the filters before you search. You see, you can select your mapping, you can add your fields. You see, you can add your fields first. You can add your filters. Whatever you want. Language. I want Indonesia only, or add gender, age. So under advanced, you can add your filters before you search. Whereas in quick search, you search first, then add the filters later. All right, so this is advanced search. If you go for drug search, it's advanced search for drugs. The only difference is that it has drug fields and it has drug subheadings, like drug analysis, drug interaction, pharmacokinetics, etc. And routes, routes of administration. Is it intramuscular, or subcutaneous, or is it intravenous? So you can see all the drug subheadings here. Then if you go to disease, it's advanced search for disease with the disease subheadings. And for device is advanced search for device with the device fields and device subheadings. All right. So any questions on the advanced search in Embase? Okay, since there's no question, so let me ask you a question. Is there any difference if I filter first before searching or I filter after I search? The answer is no. As long as your keywords are the same, your filters applied are the same, you always get back the same results. All right. Okay, so now I'll talk about this tab, citation information. Right. I will dare to say that this tab will be the least used tab in Embase. Why? Because people who use Embase, they're interested in finding results. They don't really care who is the author, who is the what is the journal. But here you can type in and search for article title or author name or journal title if you want. If not, I mean, this will be quite a rarely used function in Embase. All right. So now I'll talk about Pico. There's a Pico search page inside Embase, right? Let me stop sharing my screen. I need to go back to my slides. Right. I need to go back to my slides. All right. Can you see my slides now?
Yes, yes.
Right. This is what is Pico for those who understand. Pico is a search methodology that is recommended by Cochrane and a lot of people doing systematic review. It helps you answer a health or clinical question. For example, if I have a clinical question like, is there a relationship between liver failure in patients suffering from acute lymphoblastic leukemia under the treatment of this drug, vincristine, right? You type in the full sentence, you put it in Google, you put it in Embase, you put it anywhere else. You are not going to get an answer. So what you do is you break it down to Pico. So what is Pico? Pico is to break down by P, it can be patient, problem, or population. I for intervention, C for comparison or control, O for outcome, right? So by breaking the previous question, which is this, by Pico, now what is your problem or patient, which is your acute lymphoblastic leukemia? What is the intervention? It's drug vincristine. However, in this question, there is no comparison because you're not comparing vincristine with another treatment, right? So there's no C. What's the outcome? Liver failure, right? So now you get these result sets and you search and get results. Like in Pico form, you put it there, you get the results like this. All right. Let me just exit, stop share, and then let me go back to the Embase screen. Right. So once again, can you see my Embase screen now?
Yes.
All right, thanks. So here you have PICO. You can type in directly here, for example, dengue. Right. And what's intervention? What's a drug for dengue? Let's say I don't know, but I'm interested in Panadol. And compare to maybe Cobaf. Sorry. Right. And then outcome maybe is fever. You see, is that improved fever, etc. Or I don't want this one, I just put fever, right? So now it's 205. You see, dengue, paracetamol, fever. Show results. See, then it combines the Pico search into a search string, dengue and paracetamol and fever. So you get the results, right? Let's go back to Pico. So this is just an example. Of course, you can answer any other clinical or medical health questions using Pico search methodology if you are employing the Pico search methodology. The other good thing about this is that you can use the M3 directly here. So let's say I type in COVID. So it's meant under coronavirus. So you can see under M3 taxonomy, coronavirus, you see there's still so many other subheadings. Of course, you're interested in this, you can click on plus. Then it pops up there, right? If you want to do under population, you click on population, then you go here and you click plus, then it comes here, right? Then, of course, there's 46 synonyms. You can click on it to see the synonyms, and any synonyms you don't want, you can remove. And this is the only place where you can remove the synonyms. If you use the traditional M3 on top, once you explode, you must search for all synonyms. You cannot choose. But under the Pico M3 here, you have the ability to choose synonyms if you want. All right. So let's say coronavirus intervention could be vaccine, right? Sorry. You click under intervention, then vaccine. And you're interested to know what is vaccine, you click on I for information. That opens up the synonyms page or the dollars medical dictionary information. All right. So comparison, compare with natural infection. Right. The outcome like maybe better health or what. So you understand the concept, because when you're doing Pico, it's prompting you to think. So what is my P? What's my problem? Okay, what is my treatment? What's my intervention? What am I comparing it to? And what is the outcome I'm looking for? Better health. Like, for example, then click on search. So it combines everything for you in a Pico search, right? You see? So that's how Pico helps you. Before I continue to PV Wizard and medical device, is there any questions on Pico search page?
Hello, Ray. Can I ask some questions?
Sure, go ahead.
Yes, when you mentioned about drug for the intervention, you mentioned the drug brand, but Embase automatically put it to, like, you input Panadol and then the Embase automatically change it to paracetamol.
Yeah, because I'm using the preferred M3. Yeah.
So when we put certain brand, Embase will give suggestions for
Yes.
the drug terminology.
Yes.
Okay.
Because just to be confirmed, when you put it in, right, you can see the synonyms, right? So Panadol, because it has many treat names. So
yes.
you can put any of these names and then you map to paracetamol, and then all this will be searched as well.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And that is if you explode, because this is Pico, it automatically explode. But if you are in the normal results page, right, and you type in under the text here, let's say I type in Panadol now. Right? I type Panadol. I never explode. If I search, right, what does this do? You search for the word Panadol itself. It doesn't explode. You get only 5 for 8. But if I put Panadol, when I type Panadol, right, if I then you see automatic prompts me I should use paracetamol. If I use paracetamol and I go to mapping, I explode it, right? You see the difference? Now I explode it, I'm getting 100,000. So please be careful. If it doesn't explode it, it doesn't search for as much. Even if I use Panadol and I just explode it by itself, that means I will search for the synonyms. So now I'm getting 103 as well, compared to Panadol as a keyword. That means, you see, when I explode, you search for all other names. But if you don't explode, it's just searching for it as a keyword. So you understand the difference, right?
Okay.
All right,
Thank
thanks.
you.
All right, any other question? Okay. No. All right. So now we shall go for the PV wizard. So what is PV wizard? PV stands for pharmacovigilance. This is a wizard page, this is a wizard for you to help you to do pharmacovigilance. So what you do again, you go to M3, start off, type in a drug name. So we can type in Panadol, Acoxia, or any other drugs that you are familiar with, right? So straight away, the M3 taxonomy come out and it pops up, right? So these are the subheadings. By default, the adverse drug reaction, drug toxicity, drug interaction are highlighted. You can remove them if you don't want them, right? But by default, they're highlighted. So you're interested in more like drug comparison or like unexpected outcome of drug treatment or whatever, you can select them. If not, just leave them as it is, right? Then next, once you're happy, you click on next step. So next step, again, now it shows you all the synonyms, right? So you can choose and see, do you want to use all the synonyms? If you don't want, you can remove them. If you want to use all, then just leave it, right? Click on next. And this screen will be the search terms for adverse drug reaction. You see all these are pre-populated, fatal outcome or death, all have truncation like immunocytotox star, so it can be toxicity, cytotoxic, etc., pharmacotox, all the truncation done. So for anything you don't like, you can delete them, right? Let's say you don't like side effect, you can delete them, and you can add in your own terms as well. But if you make a mess, let's say accidentally delete too much, don't worry. You can always click on the reset form and resets to the original one. If you're happy with this, right, click on next. The next part will be the special situation. Again, special situations like pregnancy, all the truncations have been done, like drug metabolism, organ dysfunction, unresponse star, can be unresponsiveness, etc., and on truncation like next, next to, all the adjacent, it means next is after the word, everything lack of or non next to response, a lack of response or so these are all the special truncations, all the search terms have been done. Again, you're not happy, you can delete, you can add more if you want, but if everything is okay, just click on next, right? Then this is a human limits. So if you're not interested in children, you can delete this part. If you're not interested in women, you can delete woman, or you're not interested in the male population, you can delete the male, right? So once you're happy with everything, you can select the publication years, right? Or you can select records added, including certain dates. If not, you just click on show results. So you can see that what you need to do is just go to M3, find a drug name, then everything else is next, and then you found 2,656 articles pertaining to adverse events of that particular drug, because all the other keywords have been added for you. So this is a result set that you need to work on. All right. Other than that, if you go back to Pico, there's another very interesting fact here. Oh, sorry, not Pico, the PV wizard. Under PV wizard, under the search, there's a small tab here that puts EMA, MLM searches. Okay. So EMA is the equivalent of FDA for Europe. It's a regulatory body, and MLM stands for the medical literature monitoring, right? So this is the MLM files. You come here, it goes to my tools. So the other way to access this, let's say you're from the search page, is to go to my tools or go to PVuser. You go to my tools, is under your save searches. Click on the MLM tab, right? If you are under the PV wizard, then there's the link there which I showed just now. It comes here. So from here, this is the MLM core strategy. You can copy and paste it and use it, or you can rerun it and then combine with your other things. You want to rerun it, you just click on this, click on rerun, right? Or you're interested in particular chemical substances that EMA has searched, you scroll through them. Oh, I'm interested in doxycycline. This is what I'm interested in. So you can select it and click on rerun. Straight away, you get back the same result sets that EMA has done, because you're using the same search strategy, same search terms that they have done. All right. Again, let's go back to my tools, save searches, MLM. If you're not interested in chemical substance but herbal substance, there's a herbal substance tab as well. So here have herbal substance, like eucalyptus, garlic, ginger. You can see on how they search. And this is a wealth of treasure, because if you can see and view how does a regulatory body search, you can copy and learn how they search, like treatment or drug contradiction, or suicide or poisoning or drug interactions. You can copy some of the search terms and incorporate and use them in your own search. This will help you in your own search as well, even if you're not doing pharmacovigilance, because all these are a lot of good information. Or you can use the core strategy as a start, right? You see what terms you use. Or for example, you're doing something on fertility and reproduction, then you can see, okay, what do they do on that, what kind of what. Or you're working on mothers. So you will look at pregnancy complication, lactation, breastfeeding. So you can use the same keywords that people have used and incorporate it into your own search terms. All right. So that is the PV wizard in a nutshell. Is there any questions on the PV wizard before I move on to the medical device? All right, we don't see anything, so assume there's no questions. So click on medical device. So you can see the medical device form is very similar to PV wizard, only that it's built up and down instead of clicking next, next, next. So how do you start? You start by adding a medical device and click on this. You can go through the M3 and search for a general device, right? Or you can search for a medical device. Let's say dental device, you click on it, you see there's more, right? You can select anything you want. Let's say dental spacer, then dental wedge. Then you're interested, you just click plus, then adds it there. All right. This is one way of adding it. The other way is just to key in your medical device. Let's stand. So stand is a medical device, you click it in. Add device name is there. Straight away have a medical device added. You prompt you add nice synonyms. So you can click on here and look at these are all the device trade names or other names, right? Of course, you can choose to remove them if you don't think they are not useful, or can add other synonyms if you want, add it there. Of course, this doesn't make sense, so remove it, right? Add the nice synonyms, and then you can include subheadings. Let's say you're interested in device comparison, you can click this. You're interested in device economics, you click here, all right? Then move on, adverse events. Again, you click on this, it has pre-populated adverse events. You can click on edit. Again, this list you can delete, change, etc., add, right? Once you are okay, you click update, then it comes here, right? Then edit there. Of course, that will not make any sense because I added something else, right? Then here, there's a specific adverse event, right? You click on this, there's 240. So again, you can remove stuff, or if you think there's not enough, you can add more if you want, right? So what and now I change the medical device. See, let's say I use a CPAP device, right? Straight away you see the number of synonyms has changed, because now the device trade name for CPAP is different from stand, right? So again, you can add synonyms if you want, or remove things if you don't want, right? Then everything else is the same. The default is still the same. Just add, right? Then you see the specific adverse event terms are not the same now. They're specific. So you can see now instead of 240 is 97. So this will be specific to that medical device to add. So once you're done, you're happy, study limits you can add, if you want. Publication years or records added, you can add if you want. If not, you just click show. So it works very similarly to the PV wizard, but only that this is not for drugs. This is for medical device. Again, you combine everything for you, right? And then now you get the results of 2088. All right. Any questions on the medical device? Okay, I don't hear anything, so I assume there's no questions. Let me just delete here because otherwise there's a lot of words. The next thing, how do you expand or narrow down a search? Let's say I search for something. Okay, I search for number one, Akoxia. I get about 3,290. If I think there's too much or I think there's too little, I want more. How do I do that? You can either think of more keywords and add it in, right? Typing in yourself and combine them. Or there's a useful feature called the index miner. You see here, this is the index miner. So if I click on index miner, it pulls up all the indexing term in your result set. By default, it's sort by occurrence. You can sort them by alphanumeric, right? But I usually like occurrence, right? So we can scroll through this list. Okay, for example, I'm interested in a major clinical study. I click on it. Then I can go to page 2. Then I'm interested in a clinical article. I'm interested in drug mechanism. I go to page 3. I'm interested in a control clinical trial. right? Then here, again, you combine using and or. If you use the word or, you expand your search, you get more. But you use the word and, it narrows the search. No, now use and, I add query. So now what it shows is number one, I could say, right? So number one, you show add all these keywords here. So now you get 1,179 instead of 3,200 articles, and helps to narrow down your search, and it's still something relevant to what you search for because it's from the indexing term list from your original search. All right. And then again, there's also another function in Embase called similar records. Let's say read, okay, let's go back to Akosia. Okay, let's read this. Occurrence of cat scratch disease and or whatever, right? Let's say this is what you want, read abstract, look at the index term. Okay, this is what you're interested in. You can click on similar records. When you click on similar records, Embase will pull out similar records with similar index term. So the search term may not necessarily be there, but the similar index term will be there. So this might be useful or interesting to you as a searcher as well. So this is how similar records work. You pull out similar records with similar index terms. That's what it does. All right. And the next thing is under your results. If you go to index term, right, you see all these words. You see all the three dots. So whatever term you want, like, okay, right, you're interested, you click on it, it brings you directly into M3 and tell you where does it fall under the taxonomy tree. So if you're interested in that, you can do. Let's go back. And then also for the results, you click on the results. We will show you the title, the abstract, etc. Then the drug terms, disease terms, device terms, other terms, or additional information, etc. Where is it from? All this information is there. All right. So that is how you use Embase in a nutshell, right? Is there any question on Embase before I move on to show you how to access the help page in Embase? Well, we have a very quiet or either shy crowd today. It's very different from the morning. Don't worry. If any questions, feel free to contact myself or contact a library. They know how to contact me as well, right? So how to access the help page? You see this question mark here? There's a question mark here. You click on it, it opens up the help page in Embase. So here you can see you can Embase release, what is Elsevier helping to do with COVID, Embase quick user guide. This is quite interesting. You can find the Embase quick user guide under training as well. You click on training, right? It brings you to where can I find video tutorials, Embase quick start guide, quick user guide. You click on it. Embase quick user guide, you see this link is highlighted. You click on this, it downloads a PDF file that shows you a step-by-step process on how do you search in Embase. So in case after attending my training, you don't use Embase for 1-2 months and you forget everything about it, so you can come to get this quick reference guide and shows you a step-by-step of what is Embase and what do individual fields do and how do you search in them. All right, so this is pretty useful. Right, but what is really useful with Embase, in my opinion, under training, are there training sessions or webinars on Embase? You click on this. It opens up a treasure trove of information. These are all the past webinar recordings done by the product team since 2014. What is biomedical searching, or you're interested in systematic review searching for information on adverse events. It's not all conducted by a product team. Sometimes we invite external speaker like this. We invite Dr. Sugoda to have a talk, So then you can click here to view the recording or click here to view the slides, or, systematic literature review for medical device made easy if you want. Or let's say you're interested in systematic searching with M3, or you're systematic searching with Richard, which is another invited guest, or you're interested in Embase for biomedical searching, indexing, retrieval. There's a lot of information, a lot of topics. So there must be some topics you're interested in, like Embase for medical affairs. Identifying drug interactions. This is another thing to worry. Liberius rules evidence-based medicine. So you can see there's a lot of information here. You can choose whatever topic you're interested, click on it, and then just click on view recording or view the slides. Some of them only have recording and no slides, but all of them will have a recording. All right. So this is how you get access the help page in Embase. Right. So this is the end of my session. Do you have any questions? Because if you have, this is the best time to ask.
Kalau ada pertanyaan, Bapak Ibu bisa open mic ya, mau bertanya dari awal mengenai cara akses, broad search, atau yang filter, entry, PV wizard, silakan Bapak Ibu semua. Kalau ada pertanyaan bisa di chat box atau di open mic saja.
I think they are very shy. Okay, don't worry, because this is new. Like any new software, the more you use, the easier it becomes. And also maybe after using it for a few weeks or a few months, then you have questions to ask. Right?
Jadi sebagai juga sedikit summary ya Bapak Ibu sekalian. Yang pertama tadi Raymond sudah pertama-tama sudah membahas cara aksesnya. Jadi aksesnya sama dengan database yang lain itu lewat IP. Jadi Bapak Ibu yang sudah bisa terkonek dengan IP-nya UI sudah bisa mengakses Embase. Dan karena di UI juga sudah ada SSO ya Bu Vita ya. Jadi kalau dari luar kampus juga bisa login ke SSO dan bisa langsung terkonek dengan Embase juga. Dan nantinya Bapak Ibu kalau untuk mengakses Embase, kalau untuk men-set alert dan men-set untuk search filternya bisa itu harus pakai aktifkan akunnya terlebih dahulu, login terlebih dahulu. Tapi kalau tidak mau men-set filter sama tidak men-save filter atau tidak juga men-set alert itu tidak perlu login ke user ID-nya. Dan user ID bisa dipakai ini Bapak Ibu ya, bisa dipakai user ID existing yang kalau Bapak Ibu sudah akses ada user ID di Science Direct, Scopus atau Clinical Key, user ID yang sama bisa dipakai di Embase juga. Jadi tidak ada perlu bikin user ID yang baru untuk register untuk login. Itu untuk cara aksesnya. Kemudian untuk di Embase sudah ada juga tombol bantuannya, ada tanda tanya. Di situ Bapak Ibu bisa lihat guidance-nya step by step how to use Embase. Jadi kalau misalnya Bapak Ibu ada waktu, biar lebih jelas nanti pelan-pelan bisa juga lihat how to use step by step dari Embase, akses Embase-nya. Dan di help-nya juga ada di tombol bantuan tersebut juga ada webinar-webinar, training-training yang bisa diakses yang berkaitan dengan tools-nya dan berkaitan dengan ininya juga study case-nya juga yang dipakai oleh praktisi baik pembicaranya dari Elsevier maupun pembicaranya dari luar. Itu ada semua di tombol bantuan tanda tanya itu ya Bapak Ibu. Jadi bisa digunakan tombol bantuan tersebut. Mungkin itu sampai di sini ya, saya buka lagi sekali lagi kalau masih ada pertanyaan Bapak Ibu sekalian. Bisa open mic. Kalau tidak ada pertanyaan, mungkin kita ini lanjut ke kuis saja ya Bu Vita, mungkin Ibu Vita ya. Kita ada 3 pertanyaan di quiz. Raymond, can we start with quiz?
Sure.
Ya, and di quiz nanti ini Bapak Ibu, Raymond akan memberikan pertanyaan. Nanti jawabannya diketik saja Bapak Ibu ya. Nanti yang menjawab pertama yang benar itu yang jadi pemenangnya. Bu Vita sudah menyiapkan hadiah juga untuk para pemenangnya. Yes, let's start the quiz, Raymond.
All right, in the quiz, there's 3 questions. So when I flash the questions, you can answer the questions in the chat box. The first one to answer correctly. So if the first one answer is wrong, no, the first one to answer correct.
Hello, Raymond. Your voice is missing, Raymond.
Suaranya, your
Raymond?
voice not here.
Halo Raymond. Sorry. Halo Raymond, your voice is missing. Hi Raymond. We cannot hear you. Bu Vita bisa dengar saya, Bu Vita?
Bisa, tapi saya tidak mendengar Raymond. Ini Raymond kayaknya enggak.
Iya, iya.
Tampaknya sinyal Raymond di sana yang lost, jadinya dia juga nggak bisa dengar kita.
Iya, iya, kayaknya ya, Bu Putri ya.
Cuman dia masih bicara terus masalahnya.
Iya, iya, iya.
Lanjutin aja itu kayaknya yang kuisnya masih
Iya,
berlanjut
yang
ke yang
kedua.
nomor 2. Ya, silakan Bapak Ibu.
Silakan yang nomor 2 Pak Ibu ya. Yang nomor 1 tadi Pak.
Kita nggak tahu jawabannya nih karena Raymond nggak bilang.
Ya, dijawab aja. Do you need to login to Embase to save searches and set email alerts? Jawabnya yes atau no ya Bapak Ibu.
Raymond kayaknya baru tahu tuh.
Hello Raymond, can you hear our voice?
Dia coba
Mute dan unmute.
Unmute ya. Ya, baru tahu dia. Raymond,
Maybe
hello?
the headset's trouble.
Your voice is gone, Raymond.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, yes, good.
Your voice was missing when you start the quiz, Raymond.
I think, not sure. I think the connection of the headphone got, so now I'm not using headphone. But you can hear me, right?
Yeah. Clearly now, right now.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, we've done the 2 questions. So I have one last question to go, right? So the last question is, how often is Embase updated?
Okay.
So the answer is daily. So
Yes.
Embase is updated daily. So that's the end of my
Yeah. So
questions.
the first winner, Bu Vita, the first winner for the first question is Pak Muhammad Muaz.
Muhammad Muaz, yes.
Yes.
The second?
The second, I'm not sure also.
Yeah. So maybe someone can see which the first one answer second question.
I think second question should be Bu Putri ya, Bu Putri ya.
Yeah, it seems that I answered the second question.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
second
yes.
question is Bu Putri. So
Bu Putri is the
the
second
third
winner.
question?
The third question.
Bu
Muammar.
Muammar
Mr. Muammar Ilyas.
Yeah, Mr. Muammar Ilyas ya.
Okay,
That's the
so
3 winners today. Ya.
Okay.
Oke, ya mungkin sesi kita sudah sesi kedua kita training hari ini sudah selesai, Bapak Ibu sekalian. Sekali lagi seperti yang dibilang sama Raymond tadi, kalau ada pertanyaan bisa kita punya recordingnya bakal kita berikan ke Bu Vita juga, nanti bisa di-share ke para peserta juga. Dan kalau ada tadi ada tools bantuan juga, bisa juga share sendiri juga tools bantuan. Tapi recordingnya bakal di-share.
Ya. Untuk recording nanti kami juga bisa share ke Perpustakaan Fakultas Kedokteran ya, dengan Bu Putri nanti atau dengan Mas Jevi. Jadi dari rekan-rekan dari Fakultas Kedokteran bisa menghubungi perpustakaan.
Oke, terima kasih. Mungkin sebagai penutup, mungkin saya serahkan ke Bu Vita lagi untuk menutup sesi kedua kita ini. Bu Vita, silakan.
Ya, baik. Terima kasih Pak Irwan sudah memandu sampai akhir acara. Thank you to Raymond for your time and your presentation this day.